Hello, everybody. We are back once again. This is Boats Don't Sink, Connor, here with Iron City Games, doing another set review. I have with me here again Hilary and Anthony. If you'd like to introduce yourselves.
Hey, it's Hilary at Gotham TCG on Twitter.
It's Anthony. I'm the owner of Iron City Games. Yeah.
All right. So this time we're talking about Art Online Alicization Vol.2. Before we get into it, I want to say you can check us out at Iron City Games on Facebook and ironcitygames.tcgplayerpro.com. You can get any of the Weiss singles you need, new sets, some older sets. We got everything coming up, future releases. You can get singles there, or we have links where you can order playsets from us as well. So check that out. Now, before we look at the actual set, a couple of key points that I want to look at. Similar to Slime Volume 2, had a couple of specific keywords and traits that it looked at. Sword Art, as many of you are probably aware, has a lot of sets. So it's going to have a lot of different things that it's supporting here. You can see on the right, it has 5 boosters, 2 extra boosters, and some trial decks before this. Most of the cards in this set are going to be looking at the Fluctlight trait. So that's the trait from Alicization Volume 1 that released at the beginning of 2020. It's going to have a little bit of support for Avatar Net, but not as much. Within the Fluctlight trait, we're going to be looking at mostly just Fluctlight. There's a little bit in yellow and green that is going to be checking for Integrity Knight and Noble trait. And then the red cards are going to be looking at the Dark Territory trait. So those are a couple of smaller subsets within the set itself. As far as mechanics go, there's no super heavy focuses on any keywords. There is a little bit of memory in yellow and blue, and a little bit of experience in blue, mostly where it plays off of some of the set 1 strategies. And the only other focuses we're going to be looking at, there is one Avatar Net trait package, the Convert package, that's 5 or 6 cards that work together. And then yellow, since set 1, all of the big yellow combos were on return triggers. We're going to be looking at a return trigger package in this set as well. And the set is a gate trigger package, sort of building off the gate trigger finisher from Alicization 1. So, moving into the set, I know these can get a little long. I know some people don't like the longer videos, but before we get into it, I do want to remind everyone that on YouTube there is a function with the in the description. You can see timestamps for each different color and rarity that we talk about. And when you're just scrolling through the video, you can also, as you hover over it, it will tell you the different sections of the video. So you can use those chapters to skip around to exactly the parts you want to hear without having to sit through this entire video, because this is probably going to be a bit long. So, all right, if y'all are ready, we can jump into the first cards here.
Yay, let's go.
I have one more thing. Also, check us out on Twitter, Iron City Games 1. We post a lot of our images for sale up there, our SPs and foils and stuff like that. So that's a good place to get good resources.
Absolutely. So moving into our first card here, we have Together with a Memory, Asuna and Yuki. This is a yellow 00500. On attack, choose one of your other characters. It gets plus X until end of turn. X is 1,000 times that character's soul. And when it becomes reversed in battle, you can put the top card of your stock into your clock and put this into your memory to choose a Fluctlight character in your waiting room and return it to hand. This is a pretty typical clock plus. It does go to memory, which a lot of people do like. Most of these cards aren't useful far after level 0, so being able to get it out of your deck cycle is beneficial. As well, there is 2 cards, I believe. 2 cards in the set that require this in memory for their effect. One of them is one of the main yellow finishers. How do y'all feel about this one?
I like this. I like the on attack. But it's soul.
It is. Typically at level 0, you're probably going to be pumping 1,000 power off this. It's a little awkward when you're pumping before triggers, because you don't get to count the soul from like direct attacks or triggers or anything. So you're probably just pumping 1,000, maybe 2,000 at level 1.
Exactly. So it's not bad. I mostly like it for the the secondary effect and sending it to memory to help out that finisher. I just don't like yellow.
I think this
Sir.
card is like super passable. I think the fact that you need it in memory for the level 3 game is, makes it more playable than it is. I like the effect. I just don't like effects that my card has to get reversed for me to do the effect as much.
Yeah,
Gives you a little bit less deck control. It's also nice though that you can put the top card of your stock, so you know what card's going into your clock. So if you do it later in the game, if like level 1 or level 2, you're not clocking a climax is pretty impactful also. So I mean those are few things to look at.
Yeah, I think looking at it has to get reversed is pretty big. Um, Especially with Slime Volume 2 just came out, the Slime decks, if they're playing the set 1 Brainstorm, that gives minus 500 power on play, so that can remove this. There's also a small handful of other minus 500 power, minus 1,000 power cards floating around. They could give this some trouble.
I wish it was just like accosted instead of reverse.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, and if you're playing the Asuna finisher that this goes with, you kind of have to play this card. Otherwise, set 1 of Alicization Vol.1 does have another yellow clock costed plus that salvages. That is when it goes from stage to waiting room. So that might be a little more of a better choice if you don't specifically need this card in memory. So looking at our next card, we have Where the Soul Is Alice. This is a 1/0/35, gets plus 500 power for each of your other Fluctlight characters, so it's going to be a 5,500 base on a full stage. And Climax combo, when this card attacks, if our memories are here, which is the return trigger, is in your Climax area, put up to 1 card from the top of your deck into your stock, and reveal the top card of your deck. If it has Soul in its trigger icon, you may put it into your hand. So a lot of people are probably complaining that this isn't on a choice trigger because it's a yellow combo in 2021. Alicization Vol.1 released before choice was a trigger, so the Alice cards in this set are going to be playing off of return triggers and having soul in trigger icons, which return triggers do, so that they can sort of fit in with that set 1 build better. So the Alice deck is the 8 return deck that we're going to be looking at. Notably, as I said, since return triggers do have a soul trigger, you can actually add more climaxes off of this effect on the top check. But unfortunately, it is only going to be guaranteeing you stock. It's probably only maybe a little more than 50%, probably a little under 50% of the time, at best, that you're going to be getting a card off of this. Since even your level 1s, your level 1 combo at least doesn't have a soul trigger. Some of your other level 1s may or may not. Your 0s and 1-0s are at least misses on this. And I'm not particularly a fan of a combo that's only giving me stock unless I have really good things to do with it. And unfortunately, the 8 return deck has a dedicated back row that doesn't really make the best use of the stock. I know you didn't like this one very much either, Hilary.
No, at all. Just for like the Climax combo, and for 2 separate reasons. One, I don't like the whole blind stock thing, and then also the whole that top check, and it has to have a soul. That if it was a top check in a character, I would like it more. But I don't like the blind stock. I don't like that it has to have a soul. The art is great. I like the art. I don't like how, so it does get 500 for each of your other Fluctlight, but also the base power is super low.
Right.
So it's just like,
with the dedicated back row, if you have both of the back row pieces for this deck, you'll be sitting at 6,500 cross turn, which is decent. It's pretty decent cross turn.
Yeah, it's decent cross turn, but yeah.
I think this card is actually better than I originally gave it credit for. I also, I'm not a super big fan of the blind stocking, but I've been playing around a lot with decks lately that blind stock, and the resources you get late game from it feels so much better than, oh, I accidentally blind stocked Climax or whatever. especially first deck, right? Like you're not really that likely to blind stock Climax's first deck. So I mean, I think this card's better than I originally gave it credit for. You know, it pluses in the sense you get a stock and it has a 50% chance you plus on cards.
Right.
It's just whether or not you can turn the stock into more cards as if this card's good or not. And so I mean, the next card is the reason why you want stock. I think.
Yeah. I would expect this profile and this combo from maybe a rare and not a double rare. I think that's also something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way of this card.
Yeah. Notably, a cool thing, if you're playing, obviously, like the 8 return deck, the big thing people look at is like, oh, it return triggers beat standby. Like, this is the deck you can play into a standby field. It is optional to add the card. If it has a soul trigger, it's optional to add it to hand. So if you do reveal a Climax, you don't have to put it in your hand and you can just trigger it, right? Or if you reveal a non-Climax, you can add it to try to dig for more triggers. So it kind of helps you there a bit. Given that means you probably miss out on a stock if you like tri-field the combo, right? Because you stock and then you
Yeah.
reveal, and then you choose not to add it to hand, and you have to decline the stock on the next one, which is a little awkward.
Mhm.
But sometimes that's what you need to beat standby decks. So you know, it gives you
That's
options
fair.
at least, even if you're not doing it very often. It at least gives you options.
Mhm. That's fair.
All right, so moving into the next card. This card is sweet. Joint Battle, Asuna and Alice. This is a 3/2 9K. Early play if you have 2 or fewer climaxes in your waiting room. If you have 2 or more other Fluct Light characters, it gets plus 1500 power and Encore. Put 1 Fluct Light character from your hand into your waiting room. And when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, look at up to X cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card from among them, put it into your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. X is equal to the number of Fluct Light characters you have. So this is a 10-5 Encore cantripping early play. You can kind
I
of
love
think of
it.
it as like Shizu, but cantrip instead of heal. Or I know Anthony's a big fan of Jake the Dog. And it's like Jake the Dog, but with Encore.
Yeah.
Slightly worse early play condition.
Yeah.
But I think overall this card is just really strong. Like it's a body, it doesn't cost you hand. It beats for 2 soul, and you can keep it around easily. That is a really good card.
Mhm. It has a lot of. It just has a lot of good abilities that you want. You have an early play condition, you have hand on core, it gains power, and then also the last ability is probably for an early play. It's one of my favorite abilities because then you can kind of just like dig into your deck and pull whatever you want. So that's personally one of my favorite abilities of any like card per
Yeah,
se.
it
But
helps you transition from to into like getting your finisher set up pretty easily.
mhm.
And most of the finishers in Sword Art don't cantrip, so if you're trying to find a climax for your finisher combo, um, if you're not playing gate triggers, this is a good way to be able to find it.
Mhm.
This is in my top 5 for the set. I think this card's really good.
Yeah, it's
I think you guys touched on pretty much everything, but I think this card's really good.
yeah. One noticeable thing is that this is an Alice card that does not have Integrity Knight trait. And I did mention at the beginning that there's sort of a
Yeah.
small sub theme of Integrity Knight. So if you are playing cards that care about that, you have to know, even though this is an Alice, this does not have Integrity Knight traits. So that is important.
Yeah, that is.
All right, so our next card, I know this is probably Anthony's favorite card in the set. This is Unbending Fighting Spirit Asuna. On play, it heals. And Climax combo, which is what we're all here for. Memory.
Mm-hmm.
When this card attacks, if Mother's Rosario, familiar name, is in your Climax area, and together with a Memory, Asuna, and Yuki, that's the 0/0 we already looked at, is in your memory, you may pay the cost, put 2 cards from your hand into your waiting room. If you do, put the top 11 cards of your deck into your waiting room, and deal 1 damage to your opponent X times. X is equal to the number of Climax among those cards. So this is similar to the Mother's Rosario combo from Ordinal Scale, where you discard 2, mill 11, deal X, where it's the number of soul triggers you hit. This one's a lot higher of a cost, and it hits on climaxes instead of soul triggers, which late game, if you're compressed, is honestly probably stronger. And instead of dealing X, it deals 1x times, which is enormous. Like, I mean, if you have 1 in 3 compression, right, you're hitting 3 or 4 climaxes on this on average, and that's deal 1, deal 1, deal 1, deal 1. Your opponent does not live that. This just kills people, like, outright.
I want to talk about a few things with this card. One, I like that it's a healer. I kind of dislike that it doesn't cantrip because how
It's a
stock
heavy
and hand
cost.
intensive it
Yeah,
is.
it's heavy
Yeah.
cost.
But healers are good, but we've you and I have been talking about a lot lately how we don't think level 3 healers are as impactful as they used to be because you're just not super safe at level 3. But I also think the reason I like this card the most is the options for different climaxes, right? Like
Mhm.
the deck building options that you have with cards like this that have multiple cards with the same names across sets is super cool to me. And that to me is the best part about this card. I love the finisher's awesome. I mean, you kill people and the art is amazing, obviously. Because it's best girl. But I love the deck building aspect behind the 3 different climaxes for this card.
Yeah, and even though the other combos that work with this climax, the Yuki from the extra boost, the second extra booster, and the Asuna level 3 from Ordinal Scale, even though they're both Avatar net trait and don't fit into this deck, the climaxes don't care about traits. So you can play any of these 3 climaxes with this, or you can play the new choice trigger in your old Yuki deck if you want, right? So it gives you a lot of options. But the big thing he was saying, like, you're not safe at 3 anymore. There's a lot of finishers that are just really strong. Like, cards like this are why you're not safe at 3, and the heal isn't quite as relevant. But on that same note, I do still like healers for the situation where maybe you need to heal down, but you're not ready to push, and you can just play this early and heal, and maybe sit it in your back row for a turn. And at that point, you can go next turn. You haven't really spent any extra resources on getting that heal to sort of sandbag a turn. So it does open up a few lines of play. You have anything on this one, Hilary?
Well, I agree with Anthony and about the healing thing. It really doesn't matter too much. I could see it also as like sometimes I'll strategically heal or I'll clock something and then heal it off so I can just have more hand. But I love the single burns. It's just great because that you have so many cards now that it's like, oh, burn 3 or burn 2 or something, but it's so the likelihood of canceling X amount of burn 1s is very slim. I'm trying to remember, I think it was a JP card, but I can't remember the set. It had like the same, not the profile, but it had like burn 1 3 times or something like that. And it was pretty like deadly, especially for level 3. So I'm excited to see how this plays out going forward, but it's great.
Yeah.
I like the accessibility to it.
Yeah, and we've also actually seen almost this same combo in Seven Deadly Sins on the King level 3, where he was pay 1, discard 1, and you put the top 6 cards of your deck into your waiting room. So it was on a smaller scale, but otherwise King was a very similar card to this. And personally, in my testing, King felt very strong. So
Yeah. Love 7.
all right, moving on to our next level 3 here. This is our last yellow double rare. This is Priestess of Light Alice. This is another Climax combo with a return trigger. When this card attacks, if New World is in your Climax area, you may deal 1 damage to your opponent. Pretty simple Climax combo. And this ability activates up to 1 time per turn. During the turn that this card is placed on stage from hand, when damage dealt by this card is cancelled, you put the top card of your deck into your waiting room, deal X to your opponent. X is that card's level plus 1. So if you mill a level 2, you deal 3 damage. This card I also really like as a finisher. It's a lot more simple. It unfortunately doesn't cantrip or heal. Its on-play effect is the cancel burn. But this gives you a lot of just damage confirmation, I feel like, where you have the deal 1 is pretty likely to stick, and then even if your attack for 3 or 4 cancels, you get these effects typically deal an average of about 2 on their cancel burn. So you're still probably getting 2s and 1s coming through, even if all of your actual attacks cancel. And that can get you like really consistent kills, I think. I'm not sure if this kills quite as often as Asuna, but it's way lower resource to do it. This takes, you just have to have enough stock to play the Alices. This takes no extra hand, no extra stock, nothing. So it does open up more avenues for holding up defensive counters if you don't kill, or playing additional finisher, or like not finishers, but additional cards alongside it. You can play like stock swap alongside it, or things like that, which is a lot harder to do with Asuna. Downside is it's on a return trigger, so
All right, hear me out.
It's a bad trigger unless you're playing the 8 return deck.
This card is super sweet.
Yeah.
I agree with you, but it also doesn't matter that it doesn't cantrip or heal just because it takes no resources.
Because it takes no resources.
This card's sweet. I think I want to play the 8-win deck after like reading all these cards. I don't know how good it is, but I feel like this card's really good. The 1-0 combo is lackadaisical though, but man, I really like this card. Like if Slime had this type of combo, and in blue or red on like a
gate or
a comeback,
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be really good.
I agree with that.
I'm looking at it even without the Climax combo, just playing the card itself for the burn ability.
Right.
But that's me coming from like Kantai. It's like, oh, it's a Musashi.
Right.
Just play the Musashi. So
you can do that, right? Because like if you're playing Asuna finisher, like you're never gonna have enough resources to pay 2, discard 2 3 times probably. But you might have enough stock to play like 2 Asunas and have a third lane. And this could be your third lane. This could just be a cancel burn to the third lane to help you get even further.
Realistically, if you have enough to do Asuna 3 times, you've already won the game.
Like, probably, yeah. Yeah. But even a board where if you had like 1 Asuna and 2 of this, that's probably still like really strong, I think.
Yeah, I like that board state. But yeah, even without the combo, I really like this card.
And I'll have another video at some point about similar to the one I did for Slime with Volume 1 cards or older cards that can fit into these decks. And there are a number of defensive counters that you can play alongside this to sort of make use of the light resource cost that this has. There's an anti-damage counter and a heal counter and a couple other things. All right, moving into our rares. We have our first one, Splitting Sound of the Sword Alice. This card is why you're playing 8 return, most likely. This is plus 500 to all of your other Fluct-like characters. And at the beginning of your Climax, I guess we'll do the third effect first, because it's more important. When you trigger check a return trigger on any of your characters, if there are no markers under this, you may look at the top card of your deck. If you do, put it face down underneath this as a marker. At the beginning of your Climax phase, if you have 2 or more other Fluct-like characters, you can put the marker from under this into the waiting room. If you do, choose one of your opponent's characters and return it to their hand. So this means that every time you trigger a return trigger, you get the immediate bounce, and then you also get a bounce on your next turn. So, if your opponent has a costed character, they have like a 2/2 or whatever, you bounce their 2/2. If they try to play it back down or get another one, like you immediately have an answer to it on your next turn as well. It makes it very hard for, especially like standby decks, to keep board against you.
It's a perfect counter for standby.
Yeah. Any thoughts, Anthony?
Card's good.
Card's good. It gives you a good enough reason to play return triggers, which generally aren't good enough otherwise.
Yeah, I'm seeing more of like why the 8 return deck would be really good. But yeah, this is a perfect counter to stand by on offense and defense.
I mean, it's also like really
For
good
offense.
against like 7 Deadly Sins. You know, being on the bounce there, Elizabeth.
Yeah, you can like constantly keep it off the board.
Yeah, like that's
Mhm.
you know, like anti-soul, you know, cards like old cards like Rider and stuff, you're just useless against stuff like this.
Yeah,
And I think a strategy like this is getting better because I think, you know, board state at level 2 is the most important thing. So
Mm.
being able to disrupt that is probably good enough.
right.
It's just wonky though because it's reliant on you triggering climaxes.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Next up, we have Charming Figure Alice. This is the other half of your dedicated back row in the return deck. If you have Splitting Sound of the Sword Alice, all of your other Fluct-like characters get plus 500. So both of your back rows are global 500, so you're plus 1,000 to everything. And then Brainstorm, pay 1, rest 2. Flip over 5 cards from the top of your deck and put them into your waiting room. For each climax with a return trigger revealed, you salvage a character. So you get Brainstorm 5, but you have to be playing a return. Pretty good. I don't think there's as much to say about this one. This is just more justification that, you know, to be able to play return triggers.
Yeah.
It's a salvage brainstorm, which is good.
Yes. It also makes it more possible to loop your combo. Right? If you do play your Alice combo and maybe your top check gets you the climax and then they die, Salvage Brainstorm is better at being able to loop your combo back. So yeah, cool Brainstorm. Next we have Street Pen-Up, Asuna, and Alice. This is a 0/0
Best card in the set
15.
right here.
I really like the art on this card, and I wish it was a stronger card. It's 1,500. If you have 2 or less in stock, it gets 1,500 more, so it's a 3K. And then beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can choose one character in your opponent's center stage and move it to another open position of their center stage. These are kind of like runners, but they're worse than runners in that if your opponent plays 3 characters, even if only one of those characters can beat this card, you can't do anything about it. Whereas a normal runner, you know, if only one of their characters could beat it, you could just move your character in front of one of the others and still win. This one can't do that, unfortunately. So it is a 3K that is probably fine on like the first turn, and then probably not very good after that.
Yeah.
And I think there's plenty of other cards in the set that are also good on the first turn and keep a little more use after the first turn. Next we have a 1/0. This is Are These Two Rivals? Asuna and Alice. This is a 1/0 2,500. It's just a cost 0 stock bomb, but it has a soul trigger, meaning you can add it off of the 1/0 Alice combo. And also the 3/2 Alice combo from Volume 1 does also check for soul triggers, which is why it was cool that they kept everything on return triggers, because then your climaxes still count for that as well, etc. Yeah, so it's a cost 0 stock bomb with a soul trigger. It's kind of just upside, because you don't care about the power on these things anyway. So being 1,000 power weaker to have a soul trigger just doesn't matter. And at the same time, I think cost 0 stock bombs might be getting a tiny bit better. Slime, I think most people would agree that Slime is a really good deck right now, and they answer Shizu, so you don't feel horrible for playing them. Even though they're typically not something you'd want to play otherwise.
This is the second best card in the set.
What? No. I like that it's a stock bomb, and I like that it has a soul trigger. But then I'm also thinking about like the whole it not having the integrity knight. What is it called? I can't remember what it's called, but it's goddess instead of integrity knight.
Oh yeah, this one has also goddess instead of integrity knight. Yep, that is also noteworthy.
Yeah. I'm
The
just like, wait a minute.
the previous one, however, note this is also Asuna and Alice, but the 0/0 is Fluxlight Integrity Knight, missing Goddess trait,
Exactly.
which Goddess is the useless trait.
Exactly.
Nothing checks for Goddess. So,
No.
but yeah, this one is also not Integrity Knight.
hmm I like that it's a stock bomb, though. I do like that, and I do like that it has a soul trigger, but at the same time, it's losing, or it doesn't have that Integrity Knight trait. So it's like, ooh.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool too, where like your return triggers beat the costed decks, and then this beats your cost 0 decks. So you kind of like hit both angles, which is cool, I
Mm.
guess. I think the return triggers are a lot more impactful. I don't think stock bombs are huge game winners in most matchups.
No.
Right. Next card we have Goddess of Creation Stacia, Asuna. This is a 1045. This is the other card that needs the 0/0 in memory. If together with a memory Asuna and Yuki is in your memory, this gets the following 2 abilities. During your turn, plus 3000 power, and Encore. Put a character from your hand into your waiting room. So this just attacks for 75 and then dies, and then you can Encore it and attack for 75 again if you want. Which is like okay. There's like some sets that have played 7500 attackers like every now and then, just to like have ways to beat over standby 1/1s. I guess like Slime for a while played Elemental Colossus, and
Sure, but they had Ramorous, so it
right,
was fine.
right, exactly, yeah, and like even now, the 8 choice Slime deck has a 1/0 that's like really small that can attack really big. That has a soul trigger. But they kind of play it because it works with their choice triggers. But this deck doesn't really have as much need for that, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah, I don't think it's needed at all.
I don't think this card's particularly good. If they had like a Ramorous effect or something, you could just tech like 1 copy of this and bring it out and use it to win a lane. It's cool, but Sword Art also in general just has some really good ways to pump power into lanes, I think. So this isn't quite necessary.
Agreed.
Next, we have Uneasy Knight Alice. This is 3/2/95. If you have 2 or more other Floodlight characters, this gets 2000 power, which makes it a massive 11,500. And then auto, when this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you can pay 1. If you do, your opponent puts all of their stock into their waiting room, and the same number of cards from the top of their deck into their stock. So we have a stock swap in Fluxlight trait now. Previously, Sword Art Online did have one in Avatar Net trait. There's a Yumi from Ordinal Scale. It's discard 2 on play to do this. This one's just pay 1 on play. It's a generically good effect that people really like for its ability to punish compression. However, I think that the versions of these effects at level 3 are getting less and less useful as decks gain better ways to spend stock at level 2 and get meaningful results out of it. When decks have, they're playing like 7 early plays that are all good, like they don't care if they spend 4 or 6 stock at level 2 because they're getting good things out of it. And that makes your stock swap just a lot worse. Or even in the scenario where you hit your opponent to level 3 first, and then they get to play out their actual level 3 game, and that takes all their stock. And then your stock swap just doesn't do anything. So I think the level 3 ones, the window where they're good is small enough that they're not nearly as powerful as you look at the ones, the 1/1 event in Fate, or the 2/1 event in Bang Dream, or things like that. That being said, Alicization also, we've looked at the Asuna finisher already, deals 1 a bunch of times. It doesn't care about your opponent's compression. Even if they're compressed, they're not canceling a bunch of 1s. They might cancel a couple of them, but 1s are really good at sticking through compression. The other main finisher in this set is also pretty good against compression. So, like, you probably play this in the 8 return deck, because you can play it alongside your on attack deal 1. And if you're getting like return triggers to open up direct attack lanes, you might get some like big soul swings, and stock swap helps you there. But with most of the finishers in this set, I don't think this card's particularly good.
Agreed. This would have been better as like a 2/2 or something like that with the stock swap. That's pretty much all I have to say about it, to be honest. It's not good, but it's not. I wish it wasn't a 3-2. That's what I'm not happy
Sure.
about.
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I mean, I
Like,
don't.
it's okay for 8 return, but
I
at the
think it's.
same time,
I think there's a reason to play this. As a one of in your choice builds. Also, I mean, like it may not be the best stock swap, but it's a 3-2-11-5.
It is really big.
Yeah, like
yeah. But at
it's
the same time, like, you have the
it does your role,
3-2.
right? Like, I mean, it's fine. I'm not like I don't think it's the best stock swap ever printed or anything.
It's a
Oh,
it's
for
it's a role
sure.
player. I just think I think it's a role that
Yeah.
is losing
Yeah,
relevance.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
That's fair.
Yeah, it's like I would rather run it's like maybe have like one of those, and I would then choose to run the 3-2 uh combo, the
Right.
Alice combo over it's I would actually run the combo if I was running this card, but yeah, I just wish it was a 2-2.
That's fair.
I
I
wish it
think
was a 0-0 pay 3 stock.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I
yeah,
think
that would have
those
been fun.
profiles have so much utility. I think that they're sort of the optimal place for a stock swap to be right now, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, I like those level 0 stock swaps.
All right, moving into our uncommons. We have to Kirito's side, Asuna, 00500. All of your other Night Sky clad hero Kirito, which is the level 1 combo in blue, get the following ability. When this card attacks, look at the top card of your deck, put it on the top of your deck or into your waiting room, and this card gets plus 1000 power until end of turn. And it's also a pay 1 bond to Night Sky clad hero Kirito. For a little bit of context, Kirito is a 1045, it attacks for 55, and has an on-attack salvage combo, does not need a reverse. So this Asuna makes it bigger, A, makes it swing for 7,500 with the Climax. But B, bonding and on-attack combo makes it really easy to loop. And since this deck with the Kirito is on a gate trigger, it is meant for shells with lots of gate triggers. So you get pretty consistent Climax combo recursion because of this card. You get the cool thing where like the Kirito can attack, salvage the Asuna, and then die, and then you play the Asuna, pay 1, get the Kirito back, combo again, etc. It's a really cool engine.
I like the opportunity to loop this. It's great. And I like that it's not a forced mill either.
Right. Yeah, that's sort of those things. So the Kirito is experience 2 salvage, which is the same effect as the Jake level 1 combo from Adventure
Mhm.
Time. And a lot of
Yeah.
people, their least favorite part of that combo is that it has a mandatory mill 2
Yeah.
when you play it. And this sort of moves that mill into an optional mode, which is really cool, really useful. And like we don't see bonds to level 1 combos in general very often. One of the main sort of recent decks that's kind of done that is like Slime, where they have Ramorous, right, to get back their level 1 combo and use it multiple times. And I think anyone that's played with or against that deck knows how strong that is. And this is all the same.
I think this card's really good. Sucks that it doesn't come foil.
That is true. Japan
You
got
could
Japan got a promo version of it if you bought a certain number of boxes that was
Oh my
foil.
god, of course.
There were like 3
Just
cards in the
make it
set that
foil.
normally didn't come foil, and so if you bought 3 boxes, you got a promo pack that had one of them foil or whatever.
Yeah, no, because I mean, this card, I mean, my max rarity deck is not going to look great without
With
this
some
foil.
uncommons on it.
Yeah,
Just,
I mean, yeah,
just make
no,
your own foil version.
like in all seriousness, though, like I think it's really good that this this profile exists, right? Just pay 1 plus 1s are great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, usually at level 0, our pay 1 plus 1s also, we take a damage or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so now it's restrictive. It can only grab the 1-0 combo, but
But that's what
9
you're
times out
usually
of 10,
grabbing anyway.
yeah,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10 when you
Yeah.
Reiki or something like that, or um, Is it Sasha is the other one? Yeah.
Krista.
Krista.
Yeah.
You're taking damage, right? So like,
yeah, and then you're just getting your level 1 combo anyway.
I mean,
Mhm.
plus the 1-0 art is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
I actually like the non-foil art best. So I don't know. I think this card's good.
Good card.
Good card.
All right, next we have Time to Part Alice. This one's a pretty common profile. On play, reveal top card of your deck. If it's a Fluctuate character, you may put it face down underneath this as a marker. This is a 4K if it has a marker. The same things that are good about every copy of this card that exists, which seems like every set at this point. The marker's optional. You get top check information. So it stays useful throughout the game. It's not just a 4K that loses value after level 0. It's a 4K that stays relevant because you can at least use it to top check. That's about it. We say the same things about every one of these.
Yeah.
If you need it, it's also an Integrity Knight, so if you're playing that deck, it is an oversize that you can play in that deck, which is pretty cool. But that's about it. I don't think there's a whole lot else to say about this card, unless someone has something to add.
This is my favorite oversized profile, though.
It is a really good oversized profile.
Like, aside from like oversizes that chase,
I'm always torn between the plus 2000 version and the plus 1500 plus 1 level version. I'm never really sure which one's better. I think right now the 4K is better because there are a lot of like 3500 runners and 3500 chasers and stuff. So I think having the 4K power is really relevant right now. So I like this one a lot.
Especially, I also good point is there's a lot of clean cuts now.
There's also a lot of clean cuts, and those also usually hit 3500 power or 3K.
Yes, so I think these are my favorite oversizes though, because now you're Brainstorm 5 and this deck's a Brainstorm 6.
Yes.
So.
Yep. Cool card. Does lots of good things. Next, we have a card that is... I don't know if this card's good, but I love the design on this card. So this is Her Hometown Disguise Alice. This is a 1/0/500. On play, discard 2. Until end of turn, all characters in your opponent's center stage get -X power until end of turn. You return all cards from your waiting room to your deck and shuffle your deck. X is the number of Climax in your waiting room times 500. So this is a free fresh, which means it is essentially a heal because you're not taking a refresh point. So this is discard 2 heal on a 1/0, which means you're not paying stock for it. So you can really think about this as like it's a heal to stop twice, kind of, right? Where like you're refunding both of the stock that you would normally get off of playing a 3/2. But the power drain is super interesting because normally when you're playing a free fresh, it's because you're out of climaxes in deck and need to get into a new deck state. You're not going to be, oh, I have 2 climaxes in my waiting room. Guess I really need to free fresh. Like, that's not going to happen. Which means you're usually going to be draining like at least 2500 power, if not 3500 or 4000 power off your opponent's entire front row with this. Against standby decks, that's huge. Right? Like, even if you're not playing the 8 return deck, especially if you're not playing the 8 return deck, say you have a bunch of level 1 combos that are swinging for 7500 because you have the Bond and you have 2 copies of your level 1 combo, the Kirito. If you play this and drain 4K, your opponent's standby targets might be smaller than your level 1 combo now. Especially their 1/1s and maybe their 2/2s. Or their early plays, right? If a deck plays an early play, it's like their early play is 10-5. Okay, well now it's 9, like, or not even 9K, it's like, what, 10-5 goes down to probably like 7-5, maybe 6-5? You can just kill early plays with your level 1 combo.
Sure, but it's really resource heavy.
It is very resource heavy.
It's also only 500 power.
Yes.
So like you shrinking their
board
won't
be winning a lane.
Yeah. And this card I think would actually be good if it hit the whole board. Like
if it hit back row, this card would be busted.
Yeah,
this card would be busted if it could kill brainstorms and stuff.
Otherwise, I don't think this card's playable.
Okay.
Like, discard 2 to free fresh can't be like.
But a lot of free fresh cards are either it's like you have the heroic, and that's just a character. You have Lady Rainicorn, that's a pay to, but you're not getting a profile like this where it's like, okay, center stage, field, whatever, minus 500 for, you don't have a profile
So
or an ability like
sure,
this.
it's unique, but it's just like
I don't think this
It's
is as good as the
bad.
backups. I straight up don't think this is as
Oh,
good as
yeah.
a backup.
For
and
sure.
I don't think this is as good as Heroic Ren and Archer by any means. But there are lots of
same time-
there are lots of decks that will tech a copy of like a 0/0 on play pay 2 free fresh. Or there are some cards that are like on play, discard 1 both players free fresh. I think this is a card that is it can earn a slot in some decks, I think.
I like that it's an uncommon, personally, and that it's a level 1.
I think it's cool that it's level 1 and not like a 2/1, like 2/1 discard. I mean, if it was a 2/1, it might be better. Like if the cost was like discard 1 card.
Yeah, I can see that.
But I don't know. I just don't think it's like. I don't think it's great. If it had like 4,000 power, like
it could kill something after it drained power.
Yeah.
It's
like
you're typically,
the odds of you at level
after you
1
play this, your other 2 characters will probably win their lane, and this is either going to have to direct attack or lose its lane.
Yeah, like
it's
just I don't know, man. At level 1, discarding 2 cards feels so bad.
But what if your Climax flooded in hand?
Sure,
this is really good if you hit like.
I'm looking at situations.
This is the best card ever if you hit like a fat brainstorm. Like say you like refresh.
Sure,
6,
like you hit a 3 brainstorm.
You refresh 6 and hit 3 on your brainstorm. You're like, what do I do? This is literally the best card in your deck.
Yeah,
I mean that sure in that instance, fine. But think about it.
That's
So okay, I hit
that's definitely not
sure, but I hit 3 on my brainstorm. I grab this and 2 other characters. I play this and discard 2 characters. Like I haven't done anything.
Well, you fixed your deck state in 1 board.
Sure, I fixed my deck state that I destroyed by brainstorm. I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I rather just hit.
If you hit 3 on your brainstorm, you were probably gonna have to discard it into turn anyway.
This card is a 0 out of 5 for me.
0 out of 5.
I don't actually. I think this card's not playable.
All right, I'll post a poll on Twitter about this card.
I literally don't think this card's playable.
Unplayable. I love it.
I'd rather play like the 1-0 events that cause like both players to free fresh.
I mean, those are pretty good too. You can't search those.
Yeah.
If this card had a Soul Trigger, maybe it might be worth it.
All right, next card.
Oh.
So we got Endless Summer by the Beach, Alice and Asuna. This is a 1/0/40. This is actually literally just the same card we looked at like 2 cards ago. The 0/0/4K. This is just a 1/0/45 that goes to 6/5. Otherwise, it's literally exactly the same card. It's also Integrity Nitrate.
It's also the best card, third best card in the set.
Okay.
All right, I'll take your word for that. I think this is significantly worse than the 0/0 because 6/5 is not that relevant of a power line if you're trying to be oversized. 4K is irrelevant at level 0 for being oversized. 6/5 is relevant at level 1 if you're also doing other good things, but it's not good if your only goal is to be big.
Yeah. The only good thing about this card that I like is the artwork. That's it. Everything else is just like meh.
Now, notably, if you're playing this in the 8 return deck, you do have global 1K coming out of your back row, so this is a 75, which might be good enough. It attacks for 8. It attacks for 8/5 with the Climax, which does beat 1/1 standby targets. But if you need cards like this to beat 1/1 standby targets in 8 return, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what the goal of that deck is at that point. Because you should just beat those anyway.
Yeah.
Card's bad.
But now it's bad. You're like, it's the 3rd best card in the set.
He just likes
that's because the art. That's because the art is phenomenal.
Oh my goodness.
Alright, next card. 2/1. This card's name is way too long. Oceanic Resource Exploration and Research Institution, Rinko. This is on play, mill 3. If there's a climax among those cards, choose one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters and put it in their waiting room. This card's bad. I played there's a similar version of this that exists that most recently was, or maybe not most recently, but the one I can think of off the top of my head that I've played recently is a 2/1 Millum. It was a box topper from Slime Volume 1. It is basically the same effect, but instead of choosing one of your opponent's level 2 or lower characters, it is one of their level 3 or lower front row characters. And I think that's a lot more relevant. 2 or lower does still let you hit like 2/2s and stuff, but if you're already at level 2, you probably have maybe other answers to 2/2s. Having answers to 3/2s, however, is a little harder, and I think probably just better overall. And being able to hit back row, if they have a really good 2-1 back row assist, sure, but most of the big assists you want to be hitting, excluding Elizabeth, are 3/2s that are being standbyed out. It's Witch, it's the Asuna 3/2 attack in waves, it's the Shuna 3/2, like, and you can't hit those anyway with this. So, don't think this card's good.
Two notable things about this card. One, it's a net character, so it's not Flucklight.
It's not Flucklight. Yeah, this is meant for the Avatar deck. This is meant for old Sword Art.
Second is this card is actually unplayable because there's no way you could fit that name in the deck list. Like, there's no way it would fit in the box.
I don't think this is the longest name in the set. I think there's another card in yellow that's longer.
Dude, no way. In this set?
Yeah, in this set. We'll get there. Do y'all think this card is
Someone
good?
hasn't played
Anyone
Contai
want to
long
talk about this
enough.
card?
I haven't played Contai in a competitive sense, so I've never had to make a deck list, so...
I've been through that. It's bad.
Oh my god. Like, I think I played Contai like 11 out of 12 regionals and hand wrote it all. So, yeah, it sucks. If you hate yourself that day, oh.
This deck log was a strict buff to this card.
Oh, I know.
This card got more playable when deck log came out. That's for
yes.
sure. All right, moving on. I don't think this card's really worth talking about that much. We have 2/1, Sister's Private Time, Selka and Alice. Continuous, assist. All of your characters in front of this card get plus X power, 500 times their level. Brainstorm, pay 1, rest 2. Flip over 4 cards from the top of your deck. For each climax you search. I kind of like these like assists that are also brainstormed because in decks where you have a really cool utility card that wants to sit in your back row, you always feel bad when you hit like level 2 or 3 because you can't play assists, because you have to just keep your brainstorm and your utility card. Or otherwise you might as well not be playing your utility card. But ones like this let you just play over your brainstorm, and then you're all good to go anyway. So that's kind of cool. Not super relevant. This one's not particularly good. It's a search brainstorm. It's rest 2. Level assist is kind of cool, but we have other cool assists. I think there are better level assists in Alicization. I think set 1 has a green one that's really good. Also not Integrity Nitrate. It's Sacred Arts, which is Selka's trait, and I don't know why they chose to give this Selka's trait instead of Alice's trait.
Hate it.
Yeah, I don't think it's great in this set, but I think a card like this in Slime would have been really good. For like the old Slime build, so you could just still keep the potion guy back there.
Yeah, you could have potion and just play over your brainstorm with your assist.
Like, that's a big problem with that set. Is like that set has like 4 good back row cards you want to play.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that's the scenario where these cards are good, and I don't think Alicization has that problem really. Like you could argue maybe in like the 8-gate deck where you want to keep your gate filter, you can play over your brainstorm. But the gate filter rests itself anyway, so a rest 2 brainstorm kind of conflicts with that. Next up we have a 2/2/7K. As long as I can wield a sword, Alice is a 2/2/7K 2-soul, gains 1,000 for each other Flucklight character. So it's an 11K on a full board. This is your standby target in a set that probably shouldn't be playing standby, but it's better than the set 1 standby targets, I think. It's fat. That's about it.
Also, the art on this is kind of like really different than everything else.
I really like the art on this card. Alice's hair is weird. In every piece of art,
so weird.
There are no outlines on it because it is so light. Like there is an outline on it. You can never see it because it is so light. It's darker than her hair, but it's still lighter than everything else around it, which is just weird looking. But it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a standby target. This set, Alicization 1 did not have standbys, even though it had a couple standby targets in the set. The set has 2 standbys. We'll get to those later. There's still not a very good Floodlight standby deck, I don't think, but if there is, this is your 2-2. Next card, 3-2, Alice on a Summer Day. It's a 3-2 10k. On play from hand, draw up to 2, discard 2. And then put up to 1 from the top of your deck into your stock. These are all worded like this. The same as like the draw 2, ditch 1s, or draw up to 2, discard 1 for sure. So even if you draw 0, you have to discard. This one pretty much is always going to make you draw the 2 because you have to discard 2. But it comes down for 1 stock. On play, gains 1500, so it attacks for 11.5 on the turn you play it. And on play from hand, pay 1, choose a character in your opponent's waiting room, put it on an open position of their stage. These profiles are pretty cool if you have really good reverse combos.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, set 1 does have a really good reverse combo that this can go alongside. I will give it that. This card, there is a slot for this card. It has purpose. None of the ones in this set that are good need reverses, though. But, you know, it exists. It's a cool utility thing. Refunding a stock, meaning it only costs 2 stock total to play it and summon a thing down, and dig for your climax, I think is really good. Like, I think this card is really well designed for what it's supposed to do. It's just what it's supposed to do maybe isn't the thing that most of these decks are doing.
It does things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm indifferent.
There's also a world where like they clear their board, so you summon a level 1 so you can side attack over it or whatever, or summon a level 0 so you're not direct attacking. But that's super fringe and usually not worth the resources.
No.
Next up, we have Asuna on a Summer Day. This is 0/0 When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, put top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room. Gains 1,000 times the number of Floodlight characters, so maybe up to 4k on play. And during this card's battle, when damage you receive is cancelled, you may return this card to your hand. This is a plussing effect that they have been printing a little bit more lately. It's a relatively new one. I don't know how I feel about it. On first deck, I don't think you're canceling in this specific lane consistently enough for that to matter. So I think the second effect on these cards has to be on its own good enough to justify playing the card. And then that the plussing line of text is just icing on the cake. And I don't think this one gets there.
So weird thing is the first effect makes it so you want a front attack, but the second attack makes it so you want to direct it. The second effect makes you want to so you want to direct attack.
No, it's not when its damage cancels. It's when damage dealt to you cancels.
Oh, never mind. Can't read.
Yeah.
Never mind. Can't read.
Yeah.
It's just worse than a coin flip.
Probably. Probably. However, it doesn't open up direct lanes, which sometimes is better, sometimes is worse. So yeah, it's probably just worse than a coin flip. Which, for those of you unaware, are the ones that at draw phase reveal top and bounce back to hand. Usually if you hit a level 1 or higher. Next card, Neomon. This is also net trait, so this is not for the Floodlight deck. During your opponent's turn, when this card becomes reverse in battle, you may put the top card of your deck into your clock. If you do, rest this. At the beginning of your next Encore step, put it into your waiting room. It is basically Clock Encore, but costs more power and can only be used once. I really don't know why this card exists. Normally these cost pay 1, which means they're pay 1 Encore, which is actually really cost efficient, but clocking is not, because Clock Encore is an effect that costs 500 power and can be used more times than this. I don't know why this exists.
It's ugly.
It also ugly, yes. It's also
it's ugly.
Yeah. Yeah, this card is just actively bad, I think. I don't think there's any world where this card is worth playing. Now, again, they also never print Clock Encore on level 0s, so maybe you can say that, like, because they're afraid to print Clock Encores on level 0s, this is their, like, as far as they're willing to step. Because Clocking at 0 is good. We've seen Fate. We know what Avenger in Fate does.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know.
But
I'm of the opinion that if this card had Clock Encore, it would not be broken. Next
I
up, we
don't
have
know.
a 1/0 Genius Engineer Higa, also net trait. On play from hand, you can put the top card of your deck into your clock. If you do, choose a cost 0 or lower character with Kirito or Kazuto in its card name in your waiting room, and put it on any position of your stage. This is kind of like a Ricky, but doesn't cost the stock. Kind of like a Krista, I guess, but doesn't cost the stock. It also gets level 1 combos. You know, the usual. This is kind of cool. And then you realize, A, it requires you to have yellow and be playing good Kiritos, which are blue, both at level 1, and B, there are not really that many good Kiritos at level 1 in Avatar Net Trait. You could try to play this in the Fluctlight deck and use it to summon the level 1 combo from this set. But I also don't think that's the best idea ever, I'm going to be honest.
No.
You have so many costed pluses that are just good in Alicization that I don't know why you play this.
Yeah, you have other ways to, if you're desperate for that Kirito, you have other ways to like go about getting that. And this is not one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Lieutenant Colonel of the Ground Self-Defense Force, Kikuoka. Long name, short effect. When this attacks, if the character facing this card's level 2, this gets plus 6,000. I love this effect. I unfortunately don't think he gets big enough. A lot of times when they print this, they print it with a second effect that also gains power, so a lot of them end up attacking for, 11k, 11.5, maybe 12k. This guy attacks for 10.5. I don't think it's big enough to contest 2/2s. Because these are obviously designed to contest standby 2/2s, and I don't think this gets big enough.
Yeah, a lot of standby 2/2s are getting either
they're gonna be 10Ks or 10.5s.
Exactly. And that's not counting, that's just themselves.
Yeah.
That's not counting if they're getting assists or anything.
Right. So I think these need to be attacking for at least 11. This is also net trait, so no bueno card. It tried, it did not succeed.
Correct.
Here we have our yellow level 1 combo on a choice trigger in case you wanted to play 8 choice. Unlimited Landscape Alteration, Asuna, 1/0 5,000. When a god or something else is placed on your climax area, if this is in your center stage and you have 4 or more other Fluctlight characters, choose one of your opponent's characters and that character gets minus 2,000 power until end of turn. Alright, I want you to look at this, and I want you to look at this choice level 1 combo from Slime Vol.2, the last set that came out. Right? There you had full stage requirement, choice combo, salvage a character. Here you have full stage requirement, choice combo, minus 2k an opponent's character. Which one would you rather play? Tell me that.
Salvage, to be honest.
Yeah. However, as Anthony wished, the Free Fresh did, this can hit back row. So you can, if you have found a way to generate enough other card advantage without using a level 1 combo, you can just eternally harass your opponent's back row and kill every brainstorm they try to play. If that's what you want to do, this lets you do it. Otherwise, I think this card's just bad. To be real. This is like the worst. This is the worst Climax combo in the set.
I don't understand why we have a really good level 3 choice and level 1 choice is bad. Like, give me 8 choice, please.
Sometimes a choice just has to suck, okay?
Yeah. However, this card does make up for it by being S tier on the armpit tier list, so.
Oh. You need to really make a tier list for that. Not
in the
kidding.
Video. You're fired. Go home.
Next up, we have Beyond Time Asuna. This is a 2/1 backup. It's a 3,500 backup for Fluctlight trait. When I read this, I was a little surprised they didn't get one in Volume 1, but I don't think they did. So we have a 3,500 backup for Fluctlight trait. Yay!
Ooh.
Yay. Next up, we have a 2/1 35. Memories Will Never Vanish Asuna. During your turn, this card gets plus 10,000 power.
Love it.
Honestly, I think this profile is sweet. Like, most most of these huge burst power 2/1s are gonna die on defense anyway. They're usually not that big. They're usually like maybe 7k at the biggest, say sometimes 7.5, and they're still gonna die. This one just turns it up all the way and says, all right, well, we're gonna attack for 13.5 then, doesn't care what we're attacking against, which is really notable because like a lot of them also only gain power against level 3s. So this can kill 2/2s, this can kill 3/2s, this can kill whatever you want it to kill, and it will kill it almost always. It's 13.5. So like I think this profile is better than a lot of people give it credit for. Yeah. All right. No one has thoughts on that then.
No, I said I loved it.
Okay.
That's
yeah,
really
that's
it.
true. We did say that. Next up, we have another Asuna backup. This one is Net Trait. This one is not for the Fluctlight deck, and really it's not for any deck. This is a 2/2 4,500 backup.
I hate it.
Like, thanks, I guess. Pontai had a 2/2 backup. It was a Maya. And I'm pretty sure it was just a 4K. And I'm pretty sure the difference... This only has 1 soul. This is a 2/2 that only has 1 soul, and I'm pretty sure Maya just had 2 soul, and like that was the only difference.
Yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head, though. But this has 1 soul. It's a 2/2 4,500 backup. I don't know when you're ever using this. This is weird.
I don't either.
This card is weird. It's not good.
Yeah.
Events. We have Cloned Soul 2/0. I also don't know why this card's worded like this. This is whoever typed out this card needs to be fired. Choose in your waiting room 1 character with the same card name as a character in your stage or your opponent's stage, and return it to your hand. The intention is at least there. It is clear what this card does. You clone a card, either a card on your stage or your opponent's stage. You just salvage a copy of that. I don't think it's particularly good. It's costless, but I don't think it's particularly good. It's like a very restrictive salvage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only yellow event, right? Yeah. So yellow climaxes. We have obviously the return trigger for level 1, choice trigger for level 3. Here you can see all of the different characters that it combos with across all the sets and the other 2 versions. So you have lots of options there. We have the return trigger for the level 3, and we have the choice trigger for the level 1 that we wish we could pretend doesn't exist. Alright, so next up we have green cards. There are not many of them. First up, the only green double rare, as his little sister Leafa. It's a Brainstorm. Plus 500 to your other character in the middle position of center stage, and is a pay 1 rest self salvage Brainstorm for Fluctlight trait. This is the set 1 Brainstorm was Search, this one's Salvage. So while this one is in kind of an awkward color, like Alicization is almost entirely yellow-blue, I think that this being a Salvage Brainstorm does generally make it better than the Kirito. I'm much bigger on Salvage Brainstorms than Searches. But otherwise, this isn't. You should play whichever Brainstorm you want. This one being green, also, since most of the set is yellow and blue, being green means it is good for color fixing. If you need to color fix into green for anything, this is a Brainstorm that lets you do that. So that's good as well. Next up, we have probably the most important card that cares about Integrity Knight trait, and probably the only one that really matters. This is Integrity Knight Eldred. Continuous, all of your other Integrity Knight or Noble characters get the following ability. This card cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects. Alright, so we're already starting off good. Our Integrity Knights are hexproof. Second effect, when your other Integrity Knight or Noble character is frontal attacked, you may pay 1, put this card into your waiting room, return that character to your hand. So where this goes wrong, right? The Asuna Alice early play that is not Integrity Knight. Imagine if you could make that early play hexproof, and then also if they were going to kill it, bounce it back to your hand to early play it again, or just like to be able to play it again and cantrip again.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sweet. Can't do that. However, you can make the return trigger finisher hexproof. which is relevant in some matchups. And you can use this to like bounce the level 1 combo back to your hand to loop it. If it gets frontal attacked, which is cool. So like this does some nice things. I think it's mostly useful as a tech like hexproof assist in decks playing the Alice finishers. But you know, otherwise it's a pretty solid card.
Yeah, fair.
You don't get to play with a whole lot of stuff because you know it doesn't hit Fluctlight trait. It is Fluctlight, but it doesn't hit. It doesn't provide the bonuses to Fluctlight characters. You like this card, Anthony?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Next up, we have Reliable Juniors, Tisa and Ronier. This is a 0/0/1500. It itself is hexproof. It cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects. Assist, all of your Integrity Knight or Noble characters in front of this card get plus X power. X is equal to the number of markers underneath this card times 1,000. And act, rest of this card, choose one of your Shattered Self-Image Kirito and put it face up underneath this card as a marker. Note that has to come from stage. So it has to eat a Kirito from stage. It is a -1 to get a marker. However, you do get an enormous assist. Like once you get like 2 markers, it's a 2k assist. 3 markers is a 3k assist. It can get really big. And it's hexproof, so they can't just like bounce it to take away all the markers. But it only assists Integrity Knight and Noble, so you can't just play this with like most of the set. Which means it's probably not good enough, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It is cool in the like if you want to play like the dedicated Integrity Knight deck. Most of these you're not even going to be able to fit in the 8 return deck where you have the Alice Integrity Knight cards because you have your dedicated backer there. But there is a green Integrity Knight deck, and that's where this is going to fit mostly. Whoa. All right, cool. Next up, we have Unexpected Reinforcements, Yuna and Eiji. This is a net trait card, so this is for Old Sword Art. This is one of the best cards in the set for Old Sword Art. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, you may put the top card of your stock into your clock. If you do, search your deck for up to one level 1 or lower character, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, and shuffle. This is Ricky. It's basically just actual Ricky. Instead of pay 1 clock when it's top stock to clock, but that's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
And notably, since it is actual Ricky, it doesn't actually search for trait, so you could play this in the Fluxlight decks and use it to search a Fluxlight character. It itself just is not Fluxlight. But the Sword Art, the actual Sword Art decks have been lacking a clock-costed plus in their level 0 lineup, or a good one at least, for a while. So they've always had to do with like they had one that searched for level 2 or higher characters. They had one that like could only it was like on reverse go to memory get a Kirito, Asuna, or Yui. But they were always lacking ways to like get Yuki and get a couple of other cards. So this is that. This is Avatar Net's support card for the set. Not much else to say about Ricky. It's a good card profile.
It's Ricky.
Next up, we have a level 1 combo. Earth Goddess Terraria, Lifa. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand, this card gets plus X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of Fluxlight characters you have times 500. So it can be anywhere from 5,000 power to 7,000 power on play, just depending on how many characters you have. If you play it as your last character, it's 7,000. When this card attacks, if Evil Should Be Slashed is in your Climax area, choose one of your Fluxlight characters, and that character gets the following ability until end of turn. On reverse, choose a Fluxlight character in waiting room, return it to hand. This is really cool because no matter how many characters your opponent has in their front row, even if they only have 1 reverse target, you can play 3 of these, stack all the effects on the same one, get your 1 reverse, and still get 3 salvages. So this is just strictly better than on reverse salvage. Which is really good, I think. And being on treasure, this combo is fairly loopable. So I actually think this combo is pretty solid. I think it's big, right? If you play the last one at 7k, Climax makes it 8k. So I mean, you're set to get reverses even against standby 1/1s as well.
Okay. Art's good too.
Do you think you would consider playing the same thing over one of the other level 1 combos in the set?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, I mean it's fine. I just hate bar. I hate bar. Hate bar. Hate bar.
Ooh, okay, that's unpopular.
Ooh.
Uh, you obviously have never played 8 bar.
Yeah.
I never said we're
bar.
playing 8 of them.
Yeah, you've obviously never played. I mean, I play bar in my Agio record, but I just
Man, I have 8 bar Bang Dream.
So
It's
like I
great.
agree that when you're playing 8, there are issues with where they
Yeah.
end up going. But I think playing 4 is probably fine, right?
I
I would
sure.
think.
I don't like bar.
Alright,
He
this guy doesn't
hates
like
it.
it. This guy doesn't like it.
I rather like the appeal to bar.
Sacrilege.
No, the appeal to bar, right, is I get to play a climax every turn, or since it's on your level 1 combo, you're not gonna you're gonna get hit your level 1 combo, but gate does the same thing,
Sure. Okay.
and it can add later game. It can add your level 3 combo if you need it. So I don't know. I just meh.
Okay. That's fair.
I wouldn't play this because I hate bar.
Alright, next up we have the other green combo for the set. Commander of the Integrity Knight, Brokuli. So obviously this is an Integrity Knight character. On play, heal. And Climax combo, when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, if the time-splitting sword Uragiri is in your Climax area, you can pay 1, discard 2, and put this into your waiting group. If you do, put that character into your opponent's clock and deal 4 damage to your opponent. So this is kind of like the Madoka combo, where you like deal 3 clock kick. This is deal 4 clock kick with a bit of a heavier cost. I say heavier cost, it's not even really a heavier cost. It just has to sack himself. Madoka's pay 3, discard 2. This is pay 1, discard 2, and sack himself. So yeah, deal 4 clock kick. Really, I guess if you play... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. If you play 3 of these, 3 clock kicks, and a single 4 sticking does kill your opponent.
Sure, but it is a 10k.
It is a 10k. Madoka's
that needs
11.
to reverse to clock kick.
Yeah.
Like, that's just so bad. I guess the idea is you play that as the Integrity Knight assist with this.
You can play that to make it big. There's also the... this deck is... Most of the things you're checking for Integrity Knight or Noble trait, and the level assist I mentioned from set 1 that's pretty good is also Noble. So it kind of fits into this deck. This also works alongside the Alice, the uncommon Alice 3/2 that we looked at. That's on play. You can pay 1 to summon a character from your opponent's waiting room to stage, so you can guarantee a reverse target if you don't have one. And since this is only pay 1, you can afford to spend the stock to do that. But I don't think this card's great. I think it's cool, but I love the Climax art. But deal 4 is a bit big. If this was deal 3 clock kick, I might actually be down to try this. And I might try it anyway, but deal 4 is a lot. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like you could just be playing like a clock kick, right? That doesn't do anything else. It doesn't cost you a lot of resources. And you're probably just as fine. Next up, we have No Discrimination Lifa. This card's pretty cool. 0/0/500. On play from hand, all characters in your opponent's center stage get -500 power until end of turn. This just kills a lot of random things. Like Wildberry Princess, the new Shizu 0/0 that goes to memory, the Asuna and Yuki 0 that this deck needs in memory that we looked at earlier. It just kills like a lot of random things, which is kind of cool. And then also pay 1, put this in the waiting room, look it up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose a Fluctolite from one of them, reveal it, put it in hand, put the rest in the waiting room. That's kind of a decent effect all throughout the game. It does cost stock, but it gives you mill, and it gets you cards. It's kind of cool early in this deck when most of your combos need to salvage. So you can use this to fill your waiting room a bit earlier. You can use it to pay out. Say you trigger a Climax turn 1, you can use it to pay that out, etc. It's probably better than like brainstorming to pay it out. turn 2, just in terms of your odds of hitting. So yeah, it's kind of a cool card. It'd be really good if they had a clean cut in Fluctlight trait, which they.
Oh.
I think the one in 10th anniversary in Japan is Fluctlight trait, but we don't have that, so mission failed. But
maybe a promo or
maybe
something.
soon. Otherwise, yeah, this card's just kind of cool. I guess you can also use this with like the Cardinal JCs, where like when this gets frontal attacked, you call off the Cardinal to bounce this back to your hand and play it again. I don't think that's quite as good as a clean cut in this case. But this is a card that's like kind of keeps relevance throughout the game and can answer random decks at 0.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have Lively Smile Ronye. It's a 0/0/2K. On play, pay 1, discard 1, search for a Fluctlight character, which is a drop search. And Alarm, beginning of your Climax phase. If this is the top card of your clock and you have 3 or more Fluctlight characters, you can draw a card, discard a card. Which is mostly irrelevant, but it exists. It's kind of upside like on your drop search. I don't think this deck particularly needs a drop search though, so probably still not good enough to make the cut. You have like so many other forms of selectivity in this set.
Yeah. I think the alarm effect, or even having an alarm, is very unnecessary because I don't recall anything that heavily relies on, if you have alarms or anything involving
there's nothing.
Alicization. Yeah.
Like
it's very unnecessary.
you probably wouldn't even play this card in like your afterglow deck.
Oh no.
Like,
oh no. Yeah,
right.
no.
So next up we have Miraculous Wish Tisa. This card's actually pretty cool. This is a 1/0/25. On play, you may discard 1. If you do, reveal the top card of your deck. Choose a level X or lower in your waiting room, return it to your hand. X is the level of the card you reveal on top. And then when this attacks, if there's a card in your memory, choose one of your other Fluctlight characters, and that character gets plus 3,000 power until end of turn. So we see this first effect usually on level 0s. The first time it really showed up was the 2/1 Rico level assist in Love Life Sunshine. Then it started, that one was Act Rest to do it. Then it started showing up on like level 0's on play effect. Here we have it on a level 1, but it also has a second effect that pumps a lot of power, which is pretty good. Especially like you can play this alongside like the Leafa level 1 combo and pump it to an 11k on reverse combo, which is enormous and pretty cool. You can also just play it with like the Berkuli 3/2 that we looked at, where he has to reverse to clock kick and deal 4. You can pump 3k there. There's not a lot that goes to memory, but you do have your choice between there's a Yu-Gi-Oh that goes to memory, and there is a the first card we looked at, the Asano Yuki, that goes to memory. And there are some events, or at least like one event in set 1 that goes to memory. By the time you'd be using this, there's also one like there's a level 3 event that goes to memory. So there's like a couple things here and there that go to memory to turn this on. There's not a lot though.
Mm.
But the 3k pump is huge. It's a big power boost. And the hand fix is just generically good. This is if your issue is with treasures clogging your hand because you trigger them, like this is another way to deal with that to get rid of them. Next up, we have Integrity Knight Lionel. Or Lionel, I guess. This is on play. Choose one of your opponent's characters. It gets the following ability until end of turn. Continuous. This card cannot be returned to hand or put into memory. And it's a cost 0 clock bomb. Hey, Anthony, would you ever want to play Slime into this card?
Question mark.
I don't think so.
This card feels like it was printed specifically to beat Shizu.
Yeah.
Because
I don't like this.
if you play a Climax, like you can probably attack over Shizu and like reverse her, and she can't go to memory. And then if you play this first and they attack into it, you just clock bomb them and they still can't go to memory. It's also good against like the set 1 Alice combo, bounces back to hand, things like Astolfo, Aaron. We don't obviously see as much of those nowadays, but they still exist, so I guess it's cool. Turning off memory is also kind of relevant. There's still just not a whole lot of those decks out there either. So like this probably isn't worth playing, but you know, if those decks ever do just get that good, this exists. Konosuba also returns to hand, right? So this exists. It's at least a tech option that some decks might think about. We also have. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. We also have Integrity Knight Fitzel. This is a another on-play effect, sort of anti-meta tech effect. On play, all players perform the following action. If your memory has 5 or more cards, choose 4 cards in your memory and put all cards in your memory except those cards into your waiting room. And when this card attacks, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is an event or Flux-like character, choose one of your characters, and that character gets plus 3,000 power until end of turn. We see this first effect every now and then, maybe like every 2 or 3 sets. Like some random card will have it. I don't think it's good at all. Most sets aren't consistently going over 5 memory anyway. Like no decks are playing hyper memory strategies, especially in English. And the ones that are playing that like need memory can still function on their 4 memory. Like Memory Snow only needs 2, Slime only needs 2, and then they still get to keep any like up to 4. Like you might just be if you play this against Slime, right? And they have 5 or 6 memory, they might just be putting extra level 1 combos back into their cycle to use again, right?
Exactly.
Like they keep 2 in memory and put like their 3rd one back in their deck cycle so they can combo again. It's not really accomplishing that much. It's like very minor decompression. Adventure Time has a couple builds that can hit like really big memory counts, but even against those, I don't think this is doing enough to justify playing it. And the 3K power pump, I think, is probably just worse than the Tease 1-0 that we looked at, because like the cards that go to memory are good. So like hitting her 3K power pump effect isn't hard, and she has a more relevant second effect. Next we have maybe the best card in the set. This is Manly Leader Berkuli. Manly he is. 2/1 6K. Gains 1,000 power for each of your other Flux-like characters. So he's a 2/1 10K on a full board. When a Climax is placed on your opponent's Climax area, you may pay 2, discard 2. If you do, choose one character facing this card and put it into your opponent's waiting room. This guy is anti-damage that kills a dude.
Yes. Oh, imagine like Climax combos just getting murdered because of this guy.
Right, like you put this guy on board, you put like 1 or 2 of these on board, that your opponent can't triple combo. Like, even if you just play one of these down and they combo in their other lanes, you get to pop whatever's in front of him. It's still anti-damage. And like, pay 2, ditch 2 isn't actually bad rate for anti-damage. Normally it's like the other option Sword Art has a 2/3 event, so that's pay 3, ditch 1, basically. So, I mean, pay 2, ditch 2 is not bad at all. It obviously has the requirement that your opponent does have to play a Climax, but it also kills their character. Like, normally anti-damage, like, you might still even be losing the battle if you anti-damage. You're just stopping the damage. This, they don't get their stock from attacking. They don't get to kill your Berkuli. Berkuli will always live if he uses this effect, so you get to threaten it next turn, too. And they lose their character. So, like, Berkuli can really create some terrifying board states, I think.
Fine, man.
Anthony, what do you think about this card?
That's cool. I think it's pretty easy to play around, especially if it's only in one lane. But I mean,
well, what are you defining as play around? Like obviously, like you can just bounce this, right? If you have bounce tag, you can bounce this or
well,
whatever.
I'm
but-
just talking like, you know, I can't remember the last time where, you know, most decks don't consistently level 3 combo, you know, 3 times. So if you only have one, they can do it twice, and okay, you bounce their other character. Oh well, or you
yeah,
kill their other character. Oh well. I mean, it it's good. I just and it's a 2/110K, so it's not small either.
right.
But yeah,
There's also a thing you can do with this card. You can play this in the Avatar net decks if you're playing standby. You can actually just like in that build, this card's obviously you're not going to have other Floodlight characters. This card's just going to be a 6K, but it doesn't matter if he's killing whatever's across from him. His power is never going to come up. And you can trigger a standby and standby this guy out to stop your opponent's board, which is kind of cool. Next up, we have a Vice Commander of the Integrity Knights, Finatio. This is a 2/1/6/5. Level 3 or higher characters in front of it get plus 2,000 power. So it is a 2K assist, pretty typical. And on play, if you have 4 or more other Floodlight characters, you can choose a Floodlight character in your waiting room and put it into your stock. So this is a vanilla costless vanilla 2K assist, which might be good enough. I don't know. Normally we see like second effects or even third effects on these cards that are like actively do things. Like when the slime ones rest, draw a card, discard a card. I can't think of any other really big ones off the top of my head right now that are 2K assists, but normally they have a second effect that does something. This one doesn't, but it also doesn't cost you stock, so maybe it's just good enough. I'm not sure. It's probably a worse assist than the level assist from set 1 that I keep bringing up. Which the one from set 1, it's a 2/1 level assist. On play, pay 1, discard a Climax, add a Climax from waiting room to hand to Climax swaps, and it can rest to pump a Kirito or Yu-Gi-Oh! Plus 1,500. So it gives you a lot of options. Obviously, it's worse if you're not playing Kiritos and Yu-Gi-Ohs, but the Climax swap effect is pretty relevant. There are no level 0 Climax swaps in English Sword Art. So yeah, this card's like maybe decent, but probably not.
Yeah,
Next we have
you can go without.
right. Next we have Integrity Knight Renly. This is a 0/0/1500. Auto, put 1 other character from your stage into your waiting room. Beginning of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay cost. If you do, move this to an open position of your backstage. I don't think this is particularly good. It's a back row runner, but it has to sack one of your other characters to do it. So it's not... I mean, it's like kind of a plus, because you think about it, like if that character was going to die anyway, like sacking it isn't really a minus. And it saves your Renly. But it means this is pretty bad going first, because you'd have to field multiple characters to get any value out of this, and runners are usually best going first. So yeah, I don't think this is particularly good.
No. Agreed.
We have Overlapping Traces, Yuna. This is a 0/0/1500, continuous. All of your other revived imposing appearance AG get plus 1,000 power and the following 3 abilities. First ability, this card cannot be chosen by your opponent's effects. Second ability, when this card cannot become reversed by auto effects of your opponent's characters. And third ability, when this card attacks, you can pay 1, trigger check 2 times. So hexproof, can't be bombed, twin drive. The AG in question is a 1/0/6K pretty much. So this makes him a 7K. Hexproof 7K, can't be bombed, twin drive. That's like maybe decent. This is net trait, so this is for the Avatar net deck. Which like I don't think that deck like cares to play a package this big, but it's a pretty cool package at least. Probably, I mean, like I said, not quite good enough to make a deck. These are commons, but it does get kind of big in twin drives.
Yeah.
Next we have Integrity Knight Sheta. This is a 003k. If you do not have another character, this gets plus a level plus 1500, which is a level 1 4500. And the character facing it gets Encore 2 stock, which probably doesn't matter, but like maybe comes up every now and then. But otherwise, a turn 1 level 1 4500. Downside is that as like turn 2 and on, it's okay. I mean, it's a 3k. It's still kind of decently big turn 2 and on. And it's really big turn 1. Going first. Going second, you probably still, this is just a 3k. I think that puts you in a scenario where often enough, this is just a vanilla, that you might as well just be playing something else.
Yeah.
It's like really good going first, but only on the first turn going first. Otherwise, it's just a vanilla or worse. Worse than a vanilla, really.
I actually like this card.
You like this card.
Yeah.
Give us your thoughts.
I win the die roll every time. That's why I like this card.
Win the die roll every time. That makes this card pretty good.
Connor, how many times did I play Slime against you and open up with my 004k?
Every game.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Literally, like, this card's like a 5 out of 5 for me. Like, when I play, this card's a 5 out of 5.
Broken. Alright, so next up, we have the actual 1-0 that goes with the Yuna. Condition to be 6k is 2 or more Avatar net characters, pretty easy. And when this attacks, you can discard 1 to choose one of your other Avatar net characters and return it to your hand. I don't know why they printed that effect on this card, because, like, obviously you never want to bounce the Yuna itself, because that's what's giving this power. But, like, even if you're bouncing something else, you have to have enough other characters to, like, keep your power condition. And this guy's probably trying to win board if he's a 7k hexproof or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, you bouncing things means you don't win board? The only thing I can think is that, like, playing this with the Yuki combo in Avatar Net gives you a scenario where you can, like, play your Yukis and then twin drive to try to hit more treasures so that you can loop Yuki combo and you use your pluses to, like, discard and bounce the Yuki back to hand since she gains power and is small on defense. And you can loop Yuki combo that way. And, like, maybe that was the intention behind the design, but I think that's kind of convoluted. It takes up a lot of deck slots to actually be good. So probably not quite what we're going for here. He's a common for a reason. Next up we have Unlimited Automatic Regeneration Lifa. This is a 1055, gets plus 500 for each of your other Fluct-like characters. This is a 1075. And when this becomes reversed in battle, put the top card of your deck into your clock and rest this card. It is unlimited automatic regeneration. It does damage you, though. So this is, 75 that never dies, I guess. These kind of cards are kind of cool because they're usually really big, but at the same time, they, especially being a level 1, this does not scale very well, because as soon as your opponent has level 2 characters, they're going to be able to reverse this.
This card could kill you.
Right.
Like,
yeah, and it's mandatory. You have no way to get this off board other than playing over it.
Yeah.
So it is that downside where, like, we've seen some that are like 2/2s that are like really big 2/2s that do this, or even 2/3s. And those are kind of cool because, like, the power line difference between 2s and 3s isn't very big. So your opponent never really hugely outscales it. But a level 1, especially a 1-0, right? Like, this could be a 1-1, and it's like a 1-1-9k, maybe it's a little harder to scale over, but as a 1-1, as a 1055, 1075 with power condition, your opponent's level 2s or early plays are just going to kill it. And then you're in a really bad spot where you have to play over this, or else it's just, like, dealing so much damage to you. So I don't think this card's good. At all.
Agreed.
Next we have Pajama Party, Sword of Liena. This is a 1/1-2k backup. And if all your characters are Flux Light, put the top card of your deck into your stock. So it's, costless 2k backup with a Soul Trigger, which set 1 had a 2k backup. 1-0. So now we get this one because we have choice triggers. I think in any deck that's playing choice triggers and wants 2k backups, these are almost always better than the 1-0 versions. Because obviously you can add them off your choice. Soul triggers mean marginal extra damage. And they give you the opportunity to pay out climaxes that get stuck in your stock.
Or blind stock.
They also give you opportunities to blind stock climaxes. Yes, this is true. But I like these a lot. I think these are really good at choice decks. Next, we have Full of Spirit Lifa, 2/17k. When this card is placed on stage from your hand, this gets plus X power until end of turn. X is the number of Fluct-like characters you have times 1,000. And when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, choose one of your other Fluct-like characters, rest it, move it to an open position of your backstage. This is a clean cut at level 2. And it's
this is a clean cut that we got that nobody ever asked or wanted.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone's like, give us a level 0 clean cut. And they're like, sure, but it's a level 2 instead.
Ka-chow.
Ciao.
Please don't ever ka-chow again. Oh my gosh.
It's it comes down at 12k, which is like kind of big. But my issue with this is that a lot of times your board's developed by this point. You don't really have open slots to be clean cutting to. But it does give you the opportunity to like play, like push up your backer or whatever and then kill a thing and then move your backer back and you got like a free attack, which is like a +1 kind of. Also, it's just like you can play an anti-change bomb, and if your opponent has 2 early plays, you can anti-change bomb 1 lane and then kill a thing and then save your anti-change bomb.
Be really good with the 1/1 from Data Live.
Yeah, Yoshino. Yeah, if you had like a field swap anti-change bomb where you could bomb something, clean cut, kill their other early play, save your bomb, and then field swap to answer any early plays that they play on their turn, that'd be sweet. But we don't. So, unfortunately, I think this card is like
useless,
really cool, and just doesn't have that many good things to be doing.
I don't think it's useless. I mean, worst case, you play a 2/1 12k and like.
True.
Yeah, it gets chunky on play.
On play.
But I think if you're not making use of the clean cut effect, you might as well just play the Asuna 2/1, the one that's like 13-5 on offense. So it gets 10k on your turn.
That's kind of where I'm at with it. It's just like I just don't like the whole like the clean cut, and
there's also the issue where like if you try to do a thing where you have an open spot to clean cut to, you lose 1,000 power on this.
Yeah, it's just
which is, unless you play the 0/0 Lifa that sacks itself to check top 4. Then you can have a full board, play this, go to 12k, sack the Lifa, etc. But that's a lot of work. So, cool idea. Execution's kind of weird.
Yeah, very awkward.
Next we have Integrity Knight Dusselbert. Say 3/2 8k. If you have 2 or more Commander of the Integrity Knights Berkuli, that's the Clock Kick combo. This gets in your waiting room. This gets -1 level in your hand. If you have 2 or more other Integrity Knight or Noble characters, this gains 3k, so it has an 11k early play. And on play from hand, all of your opponent's characters get -1k until end of turn. So he's an 11k that, -1k is their board, and has a... I don't know if his early play condition's consistent or not, but he does require you to play the Clock Kick combo. I don't think 1 copy of this kills many back rows, but I think 2 copies of this kills a lot of back rows.
Also,
right?
Can you say the card name again?
Dusselbert. Yeah. Would you like to name your child Dusselbert?
No, thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if you're actually going down this strategy, like play 2 of these at level 2, like you probably kill back rows. So the number of like brainstorms and stuff, they're like 1,500 or 2k, I think is really big.
Can see it.
So like maybe that messes with your opponent enough that this card's really good. And if you -1k their front row, your 11k is even more likely to run over them. So this guy probably just like dominates a board when he comes down. But he does require you to be playing like this specific deck, which is a downside, because I don't think this deck has too much in the way of legs.
Yeah. it would be like a fun gimmicky deck, and it kind of makes up for probably lacking like resources and decent cards. Like,
Right. Right. So the cool thing, this is an Integrity Knight. You can play the 0/0, the Eldrea, that makes this hexproof. So now you have an 11k hexproof early play that's popping your opponent's board. And if your opponent plays something that can actually kill it, you can bounce it back to your hand and play it again. And then minus 1k there for it again.
not bad.
Which is like kind of cool. That's a lot of resources, so you're probably not doing much in the way of your finisher if you do that.
I'm so ready to get out of green.
Well, if we're out of green. So climaxes are just 2 treasures. It's just the level 1 combo and the level 3 combo.
But isn't red just bad green?
Red is bad. Let's look at red. Red has no double rares. So the first card we have here is a rare, Administrator Living On in Memories. This is another clock costed plus. When this becomes reversed in battle, pay 1 and put this into your clock. If you do, look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 character from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, put the rest in your waiting room. So this is similar to like the Rimuru, the red Rimuru from Slime. It's checked top 3, but this checks top 5, and as a result, it has a lot lower power. We don't really care about the power on this, though, I don't think, so...
I feel like I've seen it's like the same artwork from Volume 1, but they changed the background color.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's just like, I know this face in the stance. Like, it's not...
Yeah. A lot of the Administrator cards had the issue of looking the same in set 1.
I know, but...
the only difference was whether they were wearing clothes or not.
Yeah.
But I think this card's pretty good. I don't know if it goes in like many of the Fluxlight decks, but I think this has a spot in the Avatar Net standby decks, actually. Since, like, as a standby deck, you don't really care about your traits that much at level 0. You mainly care about them once you're past level 0. So you can play this, and it's just going to go to your clock. And looking at top 5, it fills your waiting room, right? So it gives you a plus. You get a character to hand. And then it puts 4 more cards in your waiting room, which helps you get standby targets early. And it helps push you to level 1 quicker, so you can start getting your level 2s standby onto board earlier. So I think it might be good in that scenario.
Yeah.
Or if you're playing Fluxlight with standby, I mean, we know they've given us standby targets, even if the deck's I don't think is that great. You could play Fluxlight standby and play this in that as well.
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Next card we have Affiliated with the Dark Knights, Lipia. When you play a Climax, you can return this to your hand, give a character +1 soul. So obviously meant to work with standby, we see this effect a lot. Other effect, pay 1, rest 2. Put the top 2 cards of your deck into your waiting room, choose a level X or lower Dark Territory character in your waiting room, return it to your hand. X is equal to the total level of those cards. If this salvaged Fluxlight, this card might actually be good, and standby Fluxlight might be better. But it doesn't, so it's not. I hate this. I hate this. Red has so few cards in this set, and they split them between standby and army deck, which are 2 things that really never want to go together, I don't think, unless your army card is a 2/2. You're playing like 10 copies of your 2/2 or whatever. But it's not. I think this deck is a nightmare. This deck is just an actual mess, just like the Dark Territory was in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this ain't it. It's like a cool card, but this deck, nothing works in this deck. Dark God Vecta. This is a 3/2 10k. On play, heal. When battle opponent becomes reversed, look it up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, put them on top in any order. This is the 2/2 Toka from Data Live, and it also heals.
Yeah.
Okay, the difference is Toka came out at level 1. This comes out at level 2, and that makes a lot of difference, unfortunately. And this also doesn't heal if you stand by it out. So, and like this effect is just not relevant at all at level 3, I don't think. I mean, like, you have to be getting this as early as possible to make good use of it, and
yeah,
it's not there. It's not quite there. Next, we have a Climax combo, Incarnation of Nihilism, Gabriel. If this card is in your center stage, all of your Dark Territory characters get plus 1500 power. And when this card attacks, if Blade of Nihilism is in your Climax area, choose any number of Dark Territory characters in your hand, put them into your waiting room, deal X damage to your opponent, choose up to one card in your opponent's waiting room, put it on top of their deck. X is equal to the number of characters put into your waiting room by this effect. So discard 1, deal 1, discard 2, deal 2. Unfortunately, I think past that point, like discard 3, deal 3, you start getting so expensive that you can't multi-field these. And I think like if all your combo is doing is like dealing 2 or 3, you need to be able to like tri-field it to have like good finishing power. Put it
This card's good.
and this card's good.
Yeah.
I would rather do like the stick with like 1, or not like plain 1 or anything, but like with a Climax combo.
Sure.
Top
You're playing
decking-
8 standby with this deck, right?
Yeah, top decking
Front
a
row
card is pretty
assist.
good.
Yeah.
Like, top decking a card and burning 1 is fine. Like, guaranteeing 1 damage is good.
Well, you burn and then you top deck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you would burn 1.
Like,
You would like burn 1 or burn 2, and then top deck, and then your actual hit for 2 soul or 3 if you trigger or direct would get the benefit of the 1 card that got stacked.
And he's an assist, so like I think that's actually
he is like
decent.
he makes your board bigger if you stand by him out. But he only pumps Dark Territory. Remember that. So he's only pumping the cards in red in this set specifically. That's all the Dark Territory stuff.
I mean, plus
so he's
artwork
carrying.
is insane.
Yeah, and
the artwork's great.
And he has to. The artwork is amazing, yeah. But he also has to discard Dark Territory from hand. So you also have to have like you can't discard climaxes, you can't discard events, and you can't discard other characters. They have to be Dark Territory.
So he's basically carrying the Dark Territory trait locked deck, more or less.
Yeah. Next up, we have Persuasion to Convert, Lisbeth. This is an Avatar net. This is the first card we've seen from the Convert package I mentioned. This whole package is a nightmare. It's as bad as Red itself. When your other character with Convert in its card name is placed on the stage from your waiting room, look at the top card of your deck and put it on the top or at the bottom of your deck. That's kind of cool. But like they have to come from waiting room, and there's only like one way to do that, unless you encore them, so question mark. Or you stand by them, I guess. But they're all like 0 0s and 1 0s, so you're not standbying them. Act, rest this card, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 2 or higher, put it into your stock. That effect's kind of cool, I guess. It can make you free stock.
Yeah.
Other effect is really questionable, and we'll see why as we see more Convert cards. There are not many of them, and they are not particularly great. We have Agitator of the Opposition, Vasago. At the beginning of your attack phase, choose one of your Dark Territory characters, and that character gets plus X power until end of turn. X is equal to the number of characters with the same card name as that card, times 500. Yeah, it's meant to pump your army card. It's also a Brainstorm, pay 1, rest 2, Brainstorm 4. For each Climax you hit, you salvage 2 copies of the army card. So,
that's good.
It's a lot of card advantage. Like, yeah, I think as far as army deck brainstorms go, this is actually pretty good.
I like the army deck brainstorms that hit on the army cards themselves.
Those are cool too. Yeah, those are cool. The one thing is like since you're salvaging 2 of the army card for each climax, like, this does want you to play a lot of copies of the army card, which is again really weird because like you never really want to stand by out this army card. It's a 1/0. It's a question mark. Then we have P. This is a 1/0 4K Climax combo. When you play the standby, this is the second standby. If this is in your front row and you have another Dark Territory character, you choose one of your opponent's level 1 or higher characters. If you do, your opponent chooses a level X or lower in their waiting room and exchanges them. X is equal to the level of the character you chose minus 1. So this is the My Little Shido effect. We've seen it in Beaufrey, we've seen it in Data Live, we've seen it... I don't know if we've seen it anywhere else. Yeah, there's a couple of sets we'll be getting soon that also have it in English. You get to level down a dude. Other effect is on attack, gets plus 500 times the number of your opponent's characters. Which is also weird because if this is a standby deck, you should be trying to win board, which means your opponent won't have many characters, which means he won't get much power. Also, his combo is just not good. Like,
Yeah, awkward.
The combo is kind of cool. It messes up board states, but at the same time, he's so small in a standby deck that you never want to play this combo. So I don't think this is good at all. Next we have Chance Meeting Subtilizer. This is a 2/2. If you have 2 or more other Fluctlight characters, this gets 3k. I have no idea why this checks for Fluctlight instead of Dark Territory. But it's a 10k. It's a 10k Fluctlight standby card. It is Dark Territory trait. And then auto, when this is frontal attacked, you can pay 1, discard a Fluctlight trait character. If you do, this cannot become reversed until end of turn. So it's a 2/2 10k, and you can pay extra and make sure it never dies. On defense, at least. As far as standby targets go, I think it's one of the worst standby targets that Sword Art has access to. But it is Dark Territory, so if you're playing the Dark Territory deck, this is the 2/2 that you have to be playing, pretty much. It's just really awkward because like most of your cards want you to have a lot of the army cards. You don't want to standby this out, but it's what standby wants to be doing. So there's a lot of conflicting things going on here. Next we have Commander of the Dark Knights, Shasta. On play, your opponent declares 0 or 1 or 2 or 3. Reveal the top card of your deck, and if that card is a character of the level that your opponent declared, put it on any position of your stage.
This card's awesome.
This card is awesome because of the things that it can do and never will. Because why would your opponent ever say 3? Why would they ever take that risk?
Yeah. I don't like the profile. It's like, oh, your opponent does this. It's just like, okay.
This is obviously has a higher ceiling than, but I think is just worse than the ones that draw you X+1 cards.
Yeah.
Because like, if your opponent just names 0 on this, like the best thing that's going to happen is you're going to get a level 0 to your board, and then you're going to lose its on-play effect. So, like, question mark?
Right.
On play, he also looks at top card of your deck, puts it on top of the waiting room. So that kind of helps you find standbys, I guess. But like, I don't know what this guy's trying to do. To be real. We have a Chief of the Orcs, Lopalin.
Very bad body.
This is a 0/0 2k. Beginning of opponent's draw phase, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 1 or higher, you may put this card into your stock. Normally these bounce back to hand, this one goes to stock. So it is not a plus, but it's resources. It's kind of cool. It's Dark Territory trait.
Yeah.
I don't know.
like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't know what.
I mean, a lot of times your zeros die on defense, anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, but if the alternative was bouncing back to hand, it's not going to die anyway.
Yeah.
Right? The stock is kind of cool, but also this deck doesn't do anything with stock. We've literally seen like no stock outs other than your pseudo brainstorm in like this entire red section. So you can. This is Fluctlight and doesn't care about Dark Territory, so you can play this in actual Fluctlight decks to build extra stock. But they have a few other ways to do that as well, so not sure. Now we have the actual army card, Swarm of Red Copper, Dark Knights. You can put any number of cards with the same name as this in your deck, and it gets plus 2,000 power for each other copy of itself in your center stage. It's a 103k, so if you have 2 others, it's a 7k. It has a soul trigger. 7k is kind of big.
Doesn't get big enough.
It doesn't quite get big enough, and you don't have ways to pump them on defense. You only have ways to pump them on offense. Your way to pump them on defense is the 3/2 once you stand by and out. But it's really weird because since these scale with themselves, if you trigger standbys, they just get smaller. And if you play the level 1 combo, they just get smaller. And like, etc. Like, it's almost like if you want to play the army deck, you just play like a comeback at level, like some random empty comeback at level 1, and then you play the level 3 combo on standby. So I don't think this is. Don't think this is a.
Red just keeps getting worse.
It really does. You read these cards and you're like, why are these in the same set?
I hate it.
Here we have our second Convert card. This is Convert Silica. It's a 1085. Continuous. All of your characters, all of your characters get the following ability. When this card becomes reverse in battle, put this card at the bottom of your deck. And auto, at the beginning of your Encore step, put this card into your waiting room. So you play this, it's an 85, and then it dies.
I hate it.
I will go ahead and spoil it. The Convert package does have a Ramaris clone. So you can do the thing where you summon this from waiting room and attack with it for really big. But here's the downside. Ramaris only sends things to memory at the end of the turn, which is after the Encore step. So this will never go to memory off of that effect, because it will always kill itself beforehand.
Oh my god.
Yay.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it ain't great.
No.
Next we have Black Mages Guild Leader DIL. It's a 1175. All of your other still all of your characters. All of your characters can't side attack. And Encore, put 2 characters from your stage into your waiting room. In case your 1175 was better than 2 of your other characters combined.
Why? Why do they do this?
This is bad. This is bad.
It's so bad.
Pay 1, sack 1 is kind of fine, because you can just sack a reversed character.
Yeah.
There is no way they killed your whole board and you're sacking 2 other characters to save your 1175 in a standby deck.
No.
Like,
Why?
I guess if you stand by this out at 0, right, and they kill this and your 2 other zeros.
Sure.
But like that's so fringe. Like it's just not good. Not where we want to be.
Like there's some situational cards that it's like, oh, okay, I see it, I'll play it, whatever. This no. All situations bad.
Bad card.
Just bad.
Next we have Champion of the Pugilist Guild, Iskon. This is a 2/8K. Cannot side attack. If it attacks a level 3 or higher, it gains 6K. So it swings 14K. This is fine.
Better than
it's
what we've been seeing
currently,
but
I think the Asuna is still better. Just
because
I mean in red. Better than what we've been seeing in red. But as far as like ways to kill level 3s go, the Asuna is 500 power smaller, but it can also attack level 2s, which I think is important. So this one gets an almost from me. It is also dark territory trait. It does have good art. This actually makes one picture with the 003K that you liked. It's a level 1 4500. If you have no other characters, those actually line up and make one picture. For the event, we have Maximum Acceleration Phase. 2/0. Choose one of your stand Fluctlight characters and rest it. If you do, look it up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. Choose 1 card from among them. Put it in your hand. Put the rest in your waiting room. This card's probably fine if you can fit red. It has to rest a thing, but look at top 3, add anything. It helps you find climaxes and stuff, and it's costless. So, like, as long as you're willing to rest something, this is never a dead card once you're level 2. It's kind of like My Little Shido in that aspect, except My Little Shido gave you a lot of options to do things. This doesn't. So it's kind of just a worse My Little Shido, I guess. No wonder that card was restricted in Japan. Huh. But this can grab anything. There's no mode on My Little Shido that can grab anything, except for the 1/1 My Little Shido.
Yeah.
So maybe passable. Climaxes. We have Blade of Nihilism, that's a standby, and we have Preaching of Hatred, which is also a standby. Noteworthy part of this is that Sword Art, as an entirety, across its 5 previous boosters, 2 extra boosters, and 3 trial decks, has only received 1 standby in Ordinal Scale. meaning that this set gives Sword Art its second standby and the ability to play 8 standby. This is kind of relevant for Avatar Net, even though neither of these climaxes combo with Avatar Net characters. It does allow Avatar Net, which has a way wider range of good standby targets and things to be doing, to play 8 standby, which is a relevant deck. So that is the most important part about Red in this set, I think, is that it gives Avatar Net 8 standbys.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving into blue, the last color. This is another main color, so this one has good cards, unlike really the last 2 colors. First, double rare, we have Time to Rise Up Kirito 002K. If all of your characters are Flux Light, this gets a level in 500, so it's a level 125, basically for free. And when this becomes reversed in battle, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you reveal 1 or more, choose a Flux Light, put it in hand, put the rest in waiting room. Choose a card in your hand, put it into your waiting room. The big thing about this profile that we always have to mention, even if you don't reveal any legal targets, you still have to discard. So don't try to jam this in some random deck. Make sure you're playing Flux Light. Shouldn't be hard in this deck. It comes up in some other sets, notably Attack on Titan, where you might not hit a yellow character. Otherwise, level 125 is pretty cool. Like 25 is as big as you can get without being a vanilla, and level 1 means you can attack into things like Fates, Clock Bombs, and Stock Bombs. You can attack into Wildberry Princess, things like that, and just kill them and not really be scared. And then once you do eventually die, you get to hand fix. This is also it's needed for one of the level 3 combos in blue. You have to discard this card specifically. So you do just have to play it in that deck. Otherwise, this is just a pretty generic utility profile. We see this a lot of sets now. Just the on-reverse reveal top 3 add 1.
This card's really good.
Yeah, it is really good. Yeah. Next, we have the blue level 1 combo. Night Sky Clad Hero, Kirito. It's a 1045. During your turn, gains 1,000. And combo, experience when this attacks, if Climax is in play, and you have experience 2 or higher, salvage a Floodlight character. Sometimes experience is awkward to hit. You just have to play enough level 3s that you can, either hold one in your opening hand, clock it, and then level it, or take 1 as damage and be able to level it. You don't have level swappers really, so you don't really have a contingency plan there. You just have to make sure you hit experience too. But otherwise, I think this combo is pretty good.
I like it. Can we just talk about how refreshing it feels to be out of red?
That's fair.
Like to see actual good Weiss cards.
Yeah, I don't. Red in the set is a tragedy. But this card's it's good art. He's beating up the red dude. Like Kirito doesn't even like the red.
This is great.
Yeah.
Kirito understands our.
Yeah, and obviously this is the bond target for the Asuna bond that we talked about, 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, good card. This is probably the main level 1 combo for most of your builds out of this set. Next up, we have Aincrad style Yu-Gi-Oh! So 3/2. If you have 4 or more Fluctlight characters, this gets -1 level while in your hand. So it's an early play. On play, he heals. And on play, this gets +X power until end of turn. X is the number of Fluxlight characters you have times 500. So if you have a full board, which is what turns on his early play, he will be 11/5 when he comes down. So he gets to attack at 11/5, and then he goes back down to 9k for defense. I'm not hugely fond of these early play healers that come down big and then go back small.
Yeah.
I like them to be able to win on defense. But we have a lot of early plays available to us in between this set and set 1. And this one being 4 or more characters. It is the only one with that condition, I believe. So it does allow for some synergy with the other ones, where you can use one of the other ones, like 2 or less Climax, to fill your board, and then play this and get multiple early plays. So I give it a pass for that. You can play this with the Asuna and Alice that we looked at earlier, where you play it, cantrip, get your 10/5 encore body, and then play this to heal. Unfortunately, they don't
like this card a lot.
They don't have any heal to stocks across either Alicization set. Fluxlight has no heal to stock.
Oh yeah.
Because Alicization Set 1 thought it was a good idea to have an anti-heal. So they decided, we're not giving you any heals that dodge your own anti-heal. Other than the Administrator, because the anti-heal is part of the Administrator deck. So Administrator heals to, like, bottom of deck. But yeah, I think this card's, like, fine. Not great, but, like, playable.
Yeah. I wish he had like a continuous power instead of like on play. The on play power buffs, unless you have like a perfect back row setup, it's. I would just prefer that he would be bigger on defense. So, and it just depends on what you have on your back row, like an assist or I don't know, something.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, next we have the last blue double rare, Light that Penetrates Darkness Xenon. On play, heal, and Climax combo. When this attacks, if the gate trigger is in play, you can discard the Time to Rise Up Kirito 0/0 that we saw. Put the bottom 7 cards of your opponent's deck into their waiting room, deal X the number of climaxes among those cards. This is
my favorite card.
pretty costless, other than like having to have enough Kiritos to discard. And I think anyone that's been playing with or against Heaven's Feel Volume 2 lately knows that, like, Sakura finisher is pretty good. That does 6. So, like, this doing 7 is still just... It's strong against compression. Like, they have a lot of climaxes. You're going to mill out their climaxes, put them in a worse deck state, and hopefully stick your damage. There is the problem where, like, they're compressed, so you mill climaxes and they cancel anyway because they're still compressed. But overall, I think this is a pretty solid combo.
Yeah,
This is my actual favorite card in the set. I like this combo a lot. I like the 8 gate or the whatever it's called, gate pants, whatever the hell it's called. I like that. I like the deck. I like the tools it has. This is the deck that I'm most excited to sleeve up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love Sinon, and this is my favorite card from this set just because of the Climax combo.
Hey, I said it first. You can't take my favorite card. That's not how
No. Roll it back. I'm pretty sure when Connor was speaking, I said it was my favorite card in this set. So
I wasn't listening.
I like Sinon. I like Sinon even more when she has cat ears, though.
Right? We need more Sinon with, like, cat ears. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, make
this is
Sinon
good. This finish is good.
again.
This is another finisher that is light on stock, so you can play other stock-heavy things alongside it if you need to. You can play stock swap with this if you have to. Though I think this is another one that's like good enough against compression that you don't really need stock swap.
Yeah.
You can play... there's like some events that cost a lot of stock that you can play alongside this. Specifically one we'll look at the end of Blue. So yeah, this just opens up a lot of avenues. The only restriction is that you have to have a Kirito in hand for every copy of the Xenon. And there is also a card that tries to fix that. So next up we have Reliable Cover from the back, Kirito. 0/0/500, your other character in the middle position of your center stage gets the following ability. When this attacks, look up to 2 cards from the top of your deck. Choose one from among them, put it on top, put the rest in your waiting room. So it gives your character the ability to choose their trigger. And Climax combo. At the beginning of your Encore step, you may pay the cost, which is put 1 Night Sky Blade from your Climax area into your waiting room. If you do, choose a Fluct Light character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. Spoiler alert, Night Sky Blade is not even in this set. That is a Climax from Alicization Vol.2.
I don't like this.
It did not have a good combo in Alicization Volume 1. It's, I believe the one in Volume 1... I forget if it's the one that, like, popped a cost 0 or if it gave you a stock or something. It wasn't. It was not card advantage. So this one gives you card advantage, which makes this Climax a little more playable. But this is just not good. Yeah, this is
it's not good,
and
it's on a 0 as well, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
You also can't multi-field this because you have to sack the Climax. So you can't get multiple pluses off this. Just...
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have Released Recollection, Yu-Gi-Oh! Very important card. First effect, when your character's trigger check reveals a climax with a gate in its trigger icon, you can discard one. If you do, look it up to 2 cards on the top of your deck, choose a card from among them, put it in your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. This means you can play 8 gates without worrying about triggering them all the time and clogging your hand with climaxes. You can just add whatever climax back to your hand and then immediately discard it to get something else off the top of your deck, which is pretty huge.
Oh yeah, that's great.
Alternatively, if you want to like loop your combo, you can trigger a gate, add your combo climax back to hand, and then discard something else to check top 2 and add something, and just like filter your hand out. So it's always good no matter which scenario you're in. Other effect, pay 2, discard a Flux Light character, rest this card, choose 1 character in your waiting room, return it to your hand, choose 1 character with the same card name as the character you return to your hand, and return it to your hand. So it's basically salvage 2 that have the same name. This is really good with the Xenon finisher, because you need to have a copy of Kirito for every Xenon. So you can just pay 2, which you're already really light on stock for your finisher, so you can afford to pay the 2 stock. Pay 2, discard 1, rest it, get 2 copies of Kirito to your hand. Makes your cost really easy for the Xenon finisher. And conveniently, Xenon is on a gate, so it works with the first effect too. Wow, surprising. It's almost like whoever designed blue knew what they were doing, and whoever designed red didn't.
They were on vacation.
They were on vacation.
Or something. I don't know. Question mark.
This card's real good. This is like, if you're playing 8 gates, it's probably because of this card. Or even 6 gates.
Oh yeah.
Next we have a Sun Goddess Solus Xenon. 00500. On play, if you have 2 or more other Flux Light characters, draw 1, discard 1. And when this becomes reversed, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 2 or higher, put it into your hand. I don't know how I feel about these. Like, the on-play draw 1, discard 1 cards are kind of cool.
Yeah.
Normally it's like on-play, discard a trait character, draw 1. This one lets you discard anything and after you draw. It just requires you to have 2 or more other characters first. And then when it becomes reversed, that effect, I don't know if that's good. Like, putting a level 2 or higher card into your hand at that point is pretty much just giving you fodder to clock for next turn. So if this dies at level 0, you don't have any use for a level 2 or higher card. But it is a plus, so maybe this card's like passable. I just don't think it fills any roles that Alicization really needs filled. We have Return to the Real World Kazuto. This is the other Avatar Net card from the set that's like actually good. Act, pay 1, choose one of your Avatar or Net characters, and that character gets plus 2,000 power until end of turn. And Act, Brainstorm, pay 1, rest this, flip over 4 cards. It's Brainstorm for 4, it searches for each climax you hit. Searches for an Avatar or Net trait character. Here's the surprising thing. Sword Art's first set came out like 8 years ago. And this is Avatar Net's first self-rest Brainstorm. They just never got one until now. So now they have one. And a lot of people are probably looking at the first effect, like, oh, pay 1, give power, like, generic bad effect. But it's actually kind of relevant, because it means that, like, if you're playing this in 8 standby Avatar Net, which is kind of where Avatar Net wants to go now, it means that your standby targets will always kill your opponents on offense, because you can just pump them into oblivion. So I think this card's pretty good. This is just like, this and the Ricky are just like the 2 cards that Avatar Net kind of really wanted, and it got.
Bro, this pumps their clean cut up too.
This also pumps their clean cut. If you like turn 2, you can play like this and the clean cut and make the clean cut like a 55 or whatever.
You kill level 1s with your clean cut. Let's go.
Yeah, you can kill level 1s with your clean cut.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I think this card's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, passable.
Yeah, sure. Next we have The Last Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh! When this becomes reversed in battle, you can put 1 card from your hand into your clock and put this into your memory. If you do, search for a Flux Light character, reveal it to your opponent, put it in your hand, shuffle. It's kind of like a drop search, but instead of paying a stock, you're taking a damage. It doesn't actually plus you, but it gives you hand fixing. And it gives you memory.
Sort of hand fixing.
I mean, it searches for a Reflect-like character.
Sure, I mean it gets rid of a card in your hand you don't want, but
Yeah.
it puts it into oblivion, basically.
Yes. You can't always use this to get rid of climaxes, but
No.
Yeah, I think this card's really good.
yeah.
Whenever a card has memory on it, like I tend to read it 2 or 3 times, and because I think memory compression's a real thing. Playing the game with like 4 less cards in your deck the whole game is really, really great.
Oh yeah.
And I think this card's good. Sucks that it has to get reversed, but
Yeah, that is a whole like kind of awkward timing that we've looked at for a couple of cards. And basically, like, out of the 4 clock costed like things like this in the set, 3 of them need to get reversed. The red one, the yellow one, and this one. But it is a good enough card, I think, and there is a 2/1 that we'll look at later that actually needs this in your memory for its effects. Next up, we have Time for Revenge, Sina. This is a 1/0 4500. On play, it gets plus X until end of turn. X is the number of Reflect-like characters you have times 500, so it goes up to 7 on a full board. And auto, on play, pay 1, discard a Climax, add a Climax from Waiting Room to hand. So it's a Climax swap. As I said earlier, Sword Art has no level 0 Climax swaps, so you are unfortunately stuck in the realm of playing this as your like costless one, because the other one is a 2/1. So this is it's your cost 0 Climax swap, but it forces you into blue, so it's kind of another reason to play the Kirito level 1 combo, because that's kind of like the only, or one of the only level 1 combos that you can play on color with this. And I think Climax swappers are just really good. Climax combos have gotten so powerful that being able to consistently resolve them, it puts you a lot further ahead than someone that misses a combo.
also, it being blue is good because the blue deck's playing the gates. So you might get stuck with the wrong Climax in your hand or whatever pretty easily.
Right, yeah. If you if you play a copy of your level 1 Climax, you might not have another copy of your level 1 Climax already in waiting room. You have to get level 3 one or whatever. I think it's especially big though for like either the 4-gate decks where you'll often have a Climax in your hand because of your gate triggers, but it might not always be the one you want. Since you're not playing like as many gates, you might not have as much selectivity. But even just it's harder in the decks that don't play any gates, right? Because you don't have blue as easily. But I mean, even in those decks, I think it's maybe important enough to try to fit.
I think this card's just good.
Yeah.
Like,
it's also nice because like
Phenom.
normally there's 0/0s, right? The Climax swappers. So obviously that comes with the benefit of not needing color. But it means if you're playing them at level 1 or 2 or whatever, they're just a dead lane.
yeah, and it's also
this comes down at 7k, so it's like it actually, if you're playing your Climax that turn, it attacks for at least 8k, which is pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that was gonna be the next point I brought up.
Yeah.
At least it doesn't just like crash to switch your Climaxes or sits in your back row and does nothing. It can at least be a 7k the first turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Next up, we have the worst. This can't be the worst Climax combo in this set because the Austin 1/0 exists, but this one.
No.
This one competes.
This is terrible.
Wait.
Terrible.
You guys, wait. Okay. I know this card's not great. I know it's not great.
Anthony, I want you to build this deck, Anthony.
But it's not as bad as you guys are making it out to be.
No, it's terrible. I hate it. It's only good for like the boyfriend ship deck. That's it.
Anthony, I want you to.
I don't even know if it's good because you can only really do it once.
Terrible.
I want you to build this deck. I want to see you triple combo this against someone.
Dude, don't tease it. Like, I could do it.
So
I don't think this card's bad. Like, you do it twice. Like,
I hate it. This kind of card is why I don't like Kirito as a person.
I don't
This
like
is
Kirito as a
why.
person because
Dude,
everybody loves him, and I don't
This
understand why.
climax,
I
this
hate
this
him.
climax combo is the epitome of like anime protagonist bringing out all of his powers to beat the bad guy. Like this combo is exactly it.
It's. I
I
think
hate
this
him.
This is
card
the
is
power
better
of
than you guys are
friendship.
giving it. No, this is way better than the Asuna
This
1-0.
is
Way better.
This is
No.
the power of friendship in a card. It's better than the Asuna because the Asuna is just actually bad. But so okay, remember read the card. On play, pay 1, add a climax from your waiting room to your hand. That line of text, I think, is actually just a good line of text. Like unironically, I like that line of text. Then we get to the combo. On attack, pay 2, put 1 Night Sky Blade and 1 Blue Rose Sword from your hand into your waiting room. When this attacks, you may pay the cost. If you do, this card gets plus 3,000 power until end of turn and perform the following action 2 times. Put the top 8 cards of your deck into your waiting room and deal X damage to your opponent. X is equal to the total number of soul in the trigger icons of those cards. So, Night Sky Blade is the climax that we looked at from that random 0/0 earlier. And Blue Rose Sword is another climax from set 1. These are both set 1 climaxes. And neither of them have good combos in set 1. The Blue Rose Sword comboed with a Yu-Gi-Oh! 3/2 that was basically like it also discarded the climax as like a defensive anti-damage sort of thing. Obviously, you can't play that alongside this Kirito as easily because that gives you way too many copies of Blue Rose Sword that you need to discard. But yeah, I think part of where this goes wrong is that A, you have to discard two climaxes from hand. They have to be specifically one of each, which makes it really hard to multi-field this. And neither of them have other good combos, right? So this is locking you into 2 climaxes already that don't have other good support.
This combo.
The effect itself is like probably fine. It's probably like deal 2, or deal 2, deal 3, or deal 3, deal 3 or something, which like
Deal 8, deal 8.
okay, well this card just went back to being really bad, I guess. But
Yeah. It's
no, you guys just don't understand, and it's honestly a little disrespectful to Kirito that you guys don't think this card is playable.
Kirito got what he deserved in a lot of things I
oh
saw
my
him
god.
in. So
Well, okay,
this
whoa. No,
card,
spoilers.
I have yet to watch Sword Art Online, like the actual anime, but
I think you guys are just you're not understanding. It's cheap.
only
It's pay 2 stock, discard 2 cards, burn 2, or burn 2, burn 3, burn 3, burn 3. That's good.
No. It's
Okay,
not
okay.
discard 2
If
cards.
this was pay 2, ditch 2, burn 3, burn 3, this card is great.
It
But
is
it's
great.
not.
That's what you're not understanding.
But it's
not.
not.
It's
No.
literally listen to me. It's on play, pay 1 stock, get one of the cards you have to discard back to your hand.
How much stock do you need?
You only need 3 stock to play this card. 3.
One copy of this card can be done off of 3 stock, yes.
Yes. This card's insane. I don't know if you guys are retarded. This card's amazing. You guys are crazy. I don't think it's as good as the
This card
this
and
card's
this
good.
combo. No, it's not. It's only good. So
I'm gonna build a deck. You and I are gonna play. And we're gonna put it on YouTube. And when I kick your butt consistently, you're gonna be like, okay, this card's good.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm gonna get you a shirt that says Anthony is always right, and you're gonna have to wear it. That's
I hate this card. I hope it burns in fire.
You can hate this card all you want, but this card is good.
It's only good if like you simp for the boyfriend build, and that's it. That's why it's like, oh yeah, it's literally a cuck. He is a cuck. It's like, what is? I hate it.
Yeah,
okay, wait. You can hate the character, okay? Like I hate Zenitsu and Demon Slayer, but we both can agree that Zenitsu, when he falls asleep, is really good. Kirito is overpowered. This card is really good. I think you're not understanding the power.
Okay.
I'm gonna sleeve this up. You're gonna watch me play it tonight,
Okay.
and you know it's gonna be
Okay.
great.
Tonight.
Okay. Tonight.
You don't even,
Oh my
you don't even have all the cards.
What?
You can do what?
You said I don't have all the cards, Connor. I have 80 of every double rare.
These two climaxes are from set 1.
Yes, it doesn't. No, you don't
He
understand.
will draw them.
I will drive to your house, pick them up from you, and then drive back and beat her on camera.
Yeah. Kirito is only good when he's in a coma. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. I can agree with that.
Yeah,
Sword Art was much more enjoyable when he was in a coma, actually.
Do you guys actually think Kirito's like this card's not good?
I don't think this card's good.
No.
What is the other climax? Like what is the Night Sky? What they have level 1 combo, right?
Okay, I will go on the official website right now, and I'll just search Night Sky Blade. Apologies to everyone's ears that heard my keyboard and the thing. Alright, so here's the combo that we have on Night Sky Blade. There's a 1/0, 4,000. It gets plus 500 for each of your other Flux Light characters, so it's a 6k on a full board. On reverse, if the climax is in play, choose one of your opponent's level 0 or lower characters and put it at the bottom of his or her deck.
Okay, that's bad.
Okay, it's basically the Asuna combo that we said was unplayable,
Okay,
but has to reverse.
Okay, go to the next. What about Blue Rose?
Okay, so there's also the 0 combo that we looked at earlier. That's on Night Sky Blade. And there's also an event that combos with Night Sky Blade. It's a 1/0 event. If your memory has 2 or less cards, put this card into your memory. Auto, Climax combo, Memory, Experience. That's a mouthful of keywords. At the beginning of your main phase, if this card is in your memory and the total level of the cards in your level is 5 or higher, you can put this card into your waiting room. If you do, choose one Night Sky Blade in your waiting room and return it to your hand.
Easy.
So
Easy
you
game.
have an event that tutors one of the climaxes. Alright, then we'll move on to Blue Rose Sword. Blue Rose Sword has one climax combo in set 1 and one climax combo that's in this set that we'll get to in the uncommons. The set 1 combo is a 3/2. On play, check top 3, add 1, put the rest in waiting room. Climax combo. At the beginning of your opponent's climax phase, you can pay 3, discard the climax, choose a character facing this card, deal X to your opponent, and that character gets the following ability until end of turn. Continuous, this card cannot deal damage to a player. X is that character's soul. I actually played this against you a little bit right when set 1 came out. I played a standby build that used this. I don't know if you remember that or not. When you were playing Goblin Slayer, probably, at that point.
Yeah, you destroyed me, and I was very upset.
Yeah. That's the only combo from set 1. The set 2, the one in this set that combos with that same climax is just, it's a 105k when you play the climax. If it's in your front row, it and one of your other characters both get on reverse blind stock.
That's good. So look, now I've generated like 18 stock, so I can do this 3 times. You guys just don't understand.
Okay.
You just don't.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
We'll get educated.
I think this combo would be better if it had a good level 1 combo.
I agree.
Yeah.
I may have jumped the gun.
If these two climaxes,
yeah, you did.
If these two climaxes had good combos tied to them, this card would be awesome.
Yeah, okay, so I jumped the gun just a little bit.
It's a little bit, but now you gotta prove us wrong. I'm holding you to it. What do I get when I win?
Alright, moving into uncommons. Beyond Time, Kirito, 102k. On play, choose one of your opponent's characters and it gets the following ability until end of opponent's turn. This card cannot move to another position of the stage. And when this card becomes reversed, if battle opponent's cost 0 or lower, you can put it at the bottom of your opponent's deck. It's a cost 0 bottom deck bomb, and it's kind of an anti-runner.
They gave us a lot of cost 0 bombs in this set.
They did. I don't think
they gave us enough to make up for like none in the first set, I guess. If there were none in the first set.
Yeah, I don't think there were any in the first set. There was a level 0 or a level 1 bomb in the first set in red. But yeah, this is. I don't think the anti-runner effect is particularly great, but if you're playing an on reverse combo, I guess sure. but like most of the combos we've seen aren't on reverse. So, here's what you do: you play this with the 1-0 combo that might be the next card. Actually, is it the next card? No, it's not the next card. The 1-0 combo that combos with the red rose sword. Wait, red rose sword, blue rose sword. Sorry. It's a stock charge for your Wombo combo deck, right? So you can anti-run their guy so you can get the stock charge. There you go. This card's bad. Next card, efforts toward the convert, Yui. This is the Ramorous clone I was talking about. It's just Ramorous, except you instead of choosing a cost 0 or lower trait character, it's choose a cost 0 or lower character with convert in its card name in your waiting room. Put it on any position of your stage, and at the end of the turn, put it into your memory. It's Ramorous that has like 5 targets. Klein, Eagle, itself, Elizabeth, Silica. Yeah, it's like 5 targets.
Yeah.
Wait,
I don't like it.
Was Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh lovers?
I was trying to tell you.
Alright, next card. What certainly remains, Yu-Gi-Oh! 105k. This is the combo that like we just talked about, so there's not much to say about this card. It's play the Climax front row, give itself and another character on reverse blind stock. Combos with the set 1 Climax.
Okay. Yep. I want to talk about the card art for a moment.
I'm
have
asking.
either of you, hold on. Have either of you seen the movie Ghost? Yeah, as soon as I saw this card art, I was just like, okay, so it's like the pottery scene from the movie.
Oh, she cut out.
But you know,
I think we lost you there.
No, man,
It's alright, we didn't need to
I was
hear
talking about that movie.
Oh,
yeah, you
man.
didn't.
Damn, the disrespect.
No.
Also, he has dead eyes, and it's very concerning. So
yeah, he's in a coma. He dead. They're basically both dead. It doesn't matter.
Oh, cute.
Alright, next card, Fair and Square Kirito. 1/1 anti-change bottom deck bomb. I don't think there's anything else to say about this card. These are like sometimes good, but I don't think bombs are particularly good.
Okay,
so.
why is this card an SR? That's the better question.
Why is this card an SR? The world may never know. And the SR even has alternate art. It's not even just foiled. It has like actually different art.
I really wish they would like hire somebody
to pick better foils.
Yes.
Okay.
Like the bond to the 1-0 would have been a really good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This card might have been a decent choice. So this is a 2/1 2K, something important, Kirito. Memory. If the last piece Yu-Gi-Oh is in your memory, which is the 0/0 clock costed pseudo drop search thing, this gets plus 9,000 power. So this is a 2/1 11K. Auto, Climax combo, Memory. This card's battle opponent becomes reversed if Healing Heart, which is a stock soul, is in your Climax area, and the last piece Yu-Gi-Oh is in your memory. Choose up to 2 Flux-like characters in your waiting room, put them in any order into your stock, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 Flux-like character from among them, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. So, like, the Climax itself already replaces the stock you spend on this character, and then you get plus 2 more stock. So, like, 1 copy of this, you're going plus 2 stock. 2 copies, you're going plus 3 stock. You're spending 2 and then gaining 5. And then it gives you a card back, like a character back. So this is, like, really good resource generation. Like, actually huge resource generation. And a 2/1 11K body is pretty good.
Why are we not playing this card?
This card does see play. This card does see play. Yes. It is. This is played in the 6-gate 2 stock soul builds. They play 4 copies of the level 1 combo, the Kirito, 2 copies of this Climax, and 2 copies of the finisher Climax. And they play the event that we'll see at the end of the and they use this to generate enough resources to pay for the event. But yeah, this is like 2-1 combo. They keep having to make 2-1 combos like better and better because like why would you not just play a 1-0 combo? And like this, they've reached to the point where like yes, this is good enough. This is enormous.
Huge.
Next, we have
Huge.
one of my favorite cards in the set. This is Wide Range Annihilation Attack, Xenon. This is a 2/1 7K. Experience, during your turn, if the total level of the cards in your level is 5 or higher, this gets plus 6,000 power. So, experience on attack, it's a 13K. That's almost as big as the Asuna. Notably, the part that I find important, it doesn't care about what's across from it. This attacks 13K into level 2s or level 3s. And the second effect is Act. Put one Fluct-Light character from your hand into your waiting room. Reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is a Fluct-Light character, this card gets the following ability until end of turn. Continuous. If this card would attack, you may choose one character in your opponent's backstage, and this card frontal attacks that character as the defending character instead. So not only is this a 13k attacker that can kill early plays and 2/2s, this can also kill things in the back row. And it can kill things in the back row up to 13k power. So if your opponent plays a standby from hand and standbys to back row, you can just kill their standby target before it ever gets to come to the front.
This card's good.
I like this card
like
a lot.
it. Yeah.
Like,
Art's great. Like, it's just super stinking good.
you might never even use the back row attack effect, and it's still a good level 3 killer, or standby target killer.
Yeah.
And, like, if you get in a point where you're just, like, if your opponent's front row dies or something, and you get to just, like, farm their brainstorm or farm their assist, like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, even against, like, 7 Deadly Sins, right? If they play their early plays and they play their Elizabeth assist early to get the 2k pump to their early plays, you punish it. You kill it with this. So, like, you just... I don't know. I like this card a lot. I think this card's really good. I will probably be trying to play this in, like, every Alicization deck I build. Next up, we have Utmost Concentration, Xenon, 00500. On play, choose one character in your opponent's center stage. It gets minus 1,000 power until end of turn. This set has a lot of minus power. I don't know why. And on attack, look at top 2, choose one, put it on top, put the rest in waiting room. So you get to choose your trigger. This is probably not great. Choosing your trigger is usually good in standby, but as we've established, I don't think Fluct-Light has good standby. The minus 1k is kind of cool, though. Like, it kills even bigger things, but I don't think the minus power effects are worth including a card just on their own for. I think they typically have to be, like, tied to a good enough second effect.
Yeah, I think this these effects or this card is unnecessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Next, we have Convert Eagle. This is a 0/02k. On play from hand, and this gets plus 1,500 power until end of turn. Note, it's only on play from hand, meaning if you use the Yui to summon this from waiting room, it doesn't get the power.
I hate it.
And second effect, when this card is put into your memory from the stage, put this card into your stock. That's kind of cool, because you're like, oh, I can play the Yui and pay 1 to summon this to get an attack, and then it refunds the Yui when it goes to memory. It goes to stock instead. But then you remember, it has to be alive at end of turn, meaning your 0/02k that didn't even get its plus 1,500 on play somehow has to survive to the encore step, like through the encore step, to then be able to go to stock. Why?
I think you're
How?
thinking too deep into it.
This package was such a cool idea, and none of the cards work.
I take back what I said about Xenon.
Like,
this guy. Yeah, no.
Eagle, why? Why you gotta be like that? Next, we have Shattered Self-Image, Kirito, which is... yeah. 0/025, can't move, because he's in a coma. And continuous assist. All of your level 0 or lower characters in front of this card get plus 1,000 power.
Oh, those dead eyes.
It's like the plus 1k assists never really matter because like you don't have level 0s in your front long enough anyway. It's like cool at 0, but unless they gain a level, your opponent can just side them anyway. So it's like it's just not there. This is you do have to play this card if you're playing the what is it, the 0/0 Tease and Ranier assist, because this is the card that it eats. Like it markers this under it. But no, that card's not good either.
No.
So
okay, blue's starting to look like red, so let's.
next we have Convert Klein, which is probably the best one. It's a 1/35. Memory gets plus 2,000 power for each Convert Klein in your memory. And when this becomes reversed in battle, if your memory has 2 or less cards, you may put this card into your memory. So basically, if you play them from hand and they die, they can go to memory and make the next one bigger, or if you summon them off of Yui and they live or die, they can go to memory and make the next one bigger. So like, I think basically you just put 2 in memory and then use 2 of them as attackers. They're like 1075s or whatever. If you do put all 3 in memory, they're 1095, or the last one is a 1095.
It's a lot like the JoJo thing.
Yes, it is very similar to the JoJo thing. But like this card alone, like this plus UE still isn't a good enough package, so don't know what we're doing here. It's also like the Lisbeth only looks at top card when you play Convert character from waiting room to stage, but all of the Convert characters are level 0s and 1s. But the Lisbeth's stock generating effect has to hit a level 2 or higher, so it's like
awkward.
None of this works. This is weird.
Yeah, it like the synergy's gone.
Yeah, it's not there. This package is just bad. Next up, we have Together with a Memory, Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh! 215k. All of your other Floodlight characters get 1,000 power. And Act Climax combo, pay 1, rest 2, choose a level X or lower in your waiting room. X or Floodlight in your waiting room. Return it to your hand. X is equal to the number of rainbow-colored waves in your waiting room. Rainbow Colored Waves is a stock soul that combos with nothing else. So, like, notably, you can play this without the Climax, and it's just a global 1k with pay 1, rest 2, salvage a level 0.
Card's really not terrible.
It could be worse.
If the set had
it's never worth.
If the set had 2 soul support, it might be worth it.
Even then, I don't think it's worth playing this Climax with this as the only combo. If it also had like a level 1 combo or a level 3 combo, sure.
Yeah, something.
But at this point, I'm putting the no bueno on it.
Yeah.
Now we have this is not the cool card. I thought this was the last character. Revisiting Underworld, Kirito, 2/155. Plus 2,500 power for each character in your opponent's backstage. So that is a 10/5 if they have 2 characters. And once per turn, when it becomes reversed in battle, reveal the top card of your deck. If that card is level 2 or higher, rest this card. So it kind of saves itself. And it's kind of big. Sure. I don't think like there are so many other good big 2/1s in this set that I don't think this matters. Like, you can even just play the Climax combo Kirito. It's a 2/111k that doesn't save itself, and that's probably also good. So, yeah, this one's fine, but not good enough to play.
Not great, yeah.
Next, we have the cool card, War of Underworld, 3/4 event. You may choose 5 of your Fluxlight characters and put them into your waiting room. If you do, deal 1 damage to your opponent, deal 2 damage to your opponent, and deal 3 damage to your opponent. Put this card at the bottom of your deck. So this is the event. This is the event
Card's bad.
that they play with the 2/1 combo, because the 2/1 combo is big, so it can live, and it gets you a lot of stock, and it gets you cards back in hand, and then you can dump all those resources into this, and then play your finishers. So like you deal 1, deal 2, deal 3, and then move into attack phase with actual finishers. Which I personally think is a lot to ask for. I have not played this deck. I have not watched much of it.
Feels like win more.
So I'm kind of that opinion, yes. If you were in a spot where you could dump that many resources and still play finishers, you were probably winning the game to begin with.
Yeah.
So I'm not super sold, but that is the thought. That is the thought process. This card's cool.
Yeah, I like it. I'm just trying to find like a slot or where it makes sense. But it makes sense in the 2/1 deck.
Also comes
Yeah.
foil.
It also comes foil, yeah. Usually events don't come foil, and usually uncommons don't come foil, but this is an uncommon event that comes foil, so
This card's amazing.
yeah.
Just because it comes foil.
I mean, cards just pretty strong. I think it's
Yeah. I would like to play with it and see kind of what happens with that effect with the event, but I'm not like falling over myself as like, oh, I have to play this card sort of thing. But the art's amazing. I love that. It's a high cost, but at the same time, it's a high payoff. So,
right. Yeah, like I mean, the turn that you do this, your opponent probably just dies. It's like 1-2-3 is
yeah.
already really good, and then you get all of your actual attacks.
Hmm.
I personally think that like if all you're doing is 1-2-3 and then 3 vanilla swings, you could have just played any other actual finisher that probably cost less resources and still get like burn hit, burn hit, burn hit, right?
Hmm.
Like you probably could have just played like the Alice finisher. It's like burn 1 on attack with Musashi effect, and that's just as much damage. So,
True.
like if all you're
That's
doing
very
is vanilla
true.
swings after this. So I think you have to be in a shell where you can do this and then also do a finisher.
Well, see, I think this, doing this and then doing the Alice finisher, since it's so low resource
Yes.
heavy,
Yeah, I agree.
like I think doing this with something that takes like pay 2, ditch 2 is almost, it's just not feasible.
Right.
Card's sweet though.
Even if you don't use the Alice's combo, playing this into the Musashi effect, right, is still
Hmm.
pretty good.
Yep.
So yeah, this is a cool card. We like this card.
Yeah.
Next
I
up, we
think
have
this would be really good if you had like a second main phase.
yes, yeah. Do this after all your attacks.
Dude, it's
Right.
like this would be really good.
It'd be good if it had a climax combo like the Millum, to where you could like play this like on reverse, play this for cheaper.
Hmm.
You just
Oh,
like end of attack
yeah,
phase,
that would
like
have been
jam this and blow up
sweet.
your board and kill them.
Oh man, that would have been cool.
That's what the
Oh
Kirito. That's
wow.
what the Kirito finisher should have done. Instead of mill 8. It should have been like play
Hmm.
this for cheaper.
Yeah. Agreed.
Moving into climaxes, we have the gate for Kirito, the gate for Sinon. Those are the 2 climax rares. And then we have the stock soul for the 2/1 and the stock soul for the other 2/1 that is probably the least relevant climax in the set. And then obviously we also saw that the 2 of the climaxes from set 1 got a lot of love in this set. So, but those are
Hmm.
not included in this set as reprints or anything. Lastly, we move into promo cards. There's not many of them. It's mostly just the box toppers. First one, we have Making Sweet Desserts Alice 002K. On play, mill 2 gets plus 1,000 times the number of Fluctlight characters you mill. And act, you can sack this to give a character 2K. It's another card that like might be cool if you had a clean cut, because you could attack with it and kill something and then save it and then sack it the next turn when you like needed to make board space. Otherwise, I think the 2 effects kind of conflict with each other a bit more than you'd want.
Yeah.
Next card is Making Sweet Desserts Asuna. It's a 1/0 global 500 to Avatar and Net characters. This is an Avatar trait. And act, rest of this card, choose one of your Avatar or Net characters, and that character gets plus 500 until the end of the opponent's next turn. Pretty vanilla global 500. I don't think you're usually spending slots in your Avatar Net decks for something like this.
No. Mm-mm.
We have Eat Up Kirito. This one is Fluctlight. I don't know why it's not Avatar Net. 0/0, 500 on play, mill 2. If there's a climax, give a character 1,500, and it's a level 0 bottom deck bomb. So this one I think is like maybe playable. Again, it is another card that would really enjoy clean cut, right? Because you could pump the clean cut, bomb a thing, and then save this. But being a power pump later into the game is still pretty solid, and level 0 bomb at 500 power is where you want to be, so that can answer things that want to like go to memory or whatever, or have undeath effects. So that's pretty cool. So this one's like probably the most playable of the promos. And then we have Eat Up Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a 1/155. When your other Flux Light character attacks, this gets 15, so it attacks for 85 if it attacks last. And beginning of Encore step, if you do not have another rest character in your center stage, you pay 1 if you do rest this card. I'm not a huge fan of that Encore condition, honestly. Not at level 1, at least. I think at level 0 it's pretty good, but at level 1 and 2, I'm not a huge fan of this Encore condition. He's also really small on defense for a 1/1, so don't think he's very good overall.
No.
And the very last card we have is Marine Style Asuna, 001500. This is the shop promo for October? I think this was the October shop promo, yeah. So these are no longer being given out, but if you've been playing at your locals the last 4 weeks, you would have been getting these.
LOL.
Marine Style Asuna. On play, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a Flux Light character, choose one of your characters and it gets plus 2,000 power. And on play, discard a Flux Light character, draw a card. I think this is actually fine. Like, if you need power for any reason, like, I think this card's solid as a power pump. I don't think there's really any decks that care for the power, like at 0 or 1, and aren't getting it through other means already. So I don't think this has any slots it fills into, but I think this profile's solid. Also has good armpits.
You.
Yeah. All right, so thank you guys for watching. That's the whole set. I know this is a long one. Hopefully you guys made it to the end and enjoyed everything we had to say about these cards and maybe learned something. You can find me at Books Don't Sink on Twitter. You can find Hilary at GothMomTCG on Twitter. You can find Iron City Games and or Anthony at Iron City Games 1 on Twitter. You can check out the store at Iron City Games on Facebook and ironcitygames.tcgplayerpro.com. Remember to go check us out. You can find all the cards that we talked about today on there. Almost all of them, at least. Maybe not the promos quite yet. But, yeah, so if you saw any decks that you thought were cool, you wanted to build out of this set, that is where you can find that. If you'd like to order a playset of any future sets, you can use discount code ICGConnor or ICGHilary. Those are on the screen right now. When purchasing playsets to get a discount on them. If y'all have anything else to say before we finish this off.
If you're still watching, those codes are great. You know, you get $25 off your playset, and it shows us that you're watching the videos. So we know that you're enjoying the content and that it's leading to you purchasing playsets for the future. And we're having a little competition between Connor and Hilary to see which one of them can get more people to sell or get more people to buy playsets, and because it shows that you're watching the videos all the way through. The loser might have to wear the face of the other one on their shirt or something. I don't know yet, but
Connor has to drink like the recommended amount of water you're supposed to drink a day. That's my challenge. That's my that is
never mind.
my challenge.
Cancel the video. But no, for real. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate Connor and Hilary for spending their time providing content like this for you guys, and I appreciate y'all for supporting us and letting us keep doing what we're doing. So thanks.
Yep, and we know these videos are long, but we do appreciate anyone that makes it to the end of them, even if you don't watch it all in one sitting. I've broken these up into chapters to hopefully make it easier for y'all if you do want to sit down and, you know, listen to a color a day even, or a rarity a day, and just make it to the end at some point, right? It still means just as much to us. We'd really appreciate if you liked the video, subscribed, left some comments with your thoughts. If you think there are any other video formats that might be a bit better, please let us know. We're open to any suggestions. If you want us to maybe try doing these, a video for each color or something like that. For now, we've just broken them up to hopefully make it easy enough for y'all. But thank you for watching, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks everyone for watching.
Yep. And with that, I believe we will see you guys. We'll probably have 1 or 2 more sword art videos coming out at some point. And other than that, we'll see you guys when Quintuplets comes out in a couple weeks. So see you then.